Are we live?
Yep.
We're live.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's hangout. The date is the 11th of August 2017, and we're very honoured and pleased to have special guest Santos Bonacci. On the panel we have today Chris from Canada, Dee from the UK, we have Ceres from Holland, Patricia UK, Richard UK, Judith Israel, and Santos Bonacci, Australia.
Oh, we're really covering some ground today, aren't we? Yeah.
Land. Santos!
Hi, guys.
Oh. How's Australia
Thanks for
in
having
you today?
It's beautiful at the moment. We're having a lot of cloudless skies on the Sunshine Coast where I am. But I believe they, well, to me, I'm very suspect of these cloudless skies we've had for about 3 weeks straight. I've never seen anything like it in Australia in all my life. Never, ever. We do get cloudless skies, but you might get 2 in a row, but there's always clouds. The only time we ever, we had some rain in the middle of that, which was nice. And we had 2 chemtrail packed skies in between those 3 weeks of cloudless skies. So 3 unusual things inside of one very, very unusual pattern of cloudless skies. I'm looking out right now and there's not a cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
And believe me, that is very strange.
Because we have levels.
Mm.
People who
Yeah.
live in England.
Oh, there's always clouds on the Sunshine Coast every single day. As I've been here 2.5 years. It's pretty much like the Victorian Melbourne weather, where, you know, you can get 4 seasons in one day. So maybe I've had an unusual 2.5 years up here, but I pay attention to the skies and the clouds every day, and this is really weird.
Right. Oh, what time is it of the year for you at the moment then? Because obviously we're summer.
Yeah, well, we just come out of winter. We're coming out of winter. Then when next month in September 21st, the equinox, not far now, we'll be pretty much in our spring. Okay, so we have spring Libras. You have spring Aries, opposite, obviously, and that is the autumn. I mean, for you guys, of course. So yeah, it'll be spring soon, but there are budding flowers everywhere already.
Really had a summer, Santos.
We had a beautiful warm winter.
We've had a cold summer.
Yeah.
We had a couple of weeks which were really nice, but it was really strange because the weather 20 odd degrees and it felt like about 40 degrees. It was so hot. But that's not what the temperatures were telling you. You know, they were saying it was like low 20s. But it wasn't. It felt like 30s or 40s. It was really hot. And since then, it's been quite cold. And even Chris, Ceres, me, Dee, we've had jumpers on. I mean, like, we're looking like we're in winter.
Yeah, it's been really cold here in Canada. You know, on average, we've had like a few warm days, but it's been chilly nights, and you know, some nights you can see your breath. I mean, we're in the middle of August here, not even yet, right? We had a downpour again today. It just a flash downpour brought down probably an inch of rain in 30 minutes. It just, the water was just sheeting off the roof. It was going so fast, it was missing the gutters and just going straight out about 3-4 feet off the roof here. So it was interesting so far today. And the chemtrails, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, especially the
And the chemtrails. Get the chemtrails. Anyway, I've been talking to Santos for quite a long time about coming on a hangout because he wanted to understand Chris and Ceres' model a bit more. But also, Santos, the topic has been that eclipse, hasn't it? And you've also put an article about eclipse. So I wondered if you would talk a bit about what you were saying on your post.
Yeah, that'll be my pleasure. Before I do that, I'd just like to share my screen and show you what else I posted yesterday on Facebook and some of the comments from the shills. So I want to name the shills, and I want to well, I want to go after them. You know, I want to expose them, and I want to ridicule them as much as they think they are trying to ridicule us. So I want to start with that, if you don't mind, and then do the eclipse.
Yes, well, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. All right, so share screen. So you'll be seeing my screen, and I'll take you to my Facebook page. And we can have some fun. So here's my post yesterday. Can you see this?
Yeah.
So I posted, "Get your hand off your cocks, pretty boy shill." This is Brian Cox, of course, Mr. Smiley, you know, hiding the deceit type, you know, very, very creepy guy, creepy. You can tell this guy's doing all kinds of favors for the elite so that he can, well, be, you know, the world's pseudoscience pretty boy, you know, El McPherson of science, you know, and he pretty much goes around like a supermodel, you know, thinking he's, you know, God's gift to women. So my comment is, I think you will find if you read books, cockboy, that all the ancients knew the earth is flat. And here are a few examples. Now I'll just expand that so you can see what I'm doing. I want people to see this, what I deal with every day. We're living on what I call planet dumb, playnet dumb, and the people have been dumbed down. Here's some links here. There's hundreds of them. I could go forever. Every single ancient culture, every single one of them had a stationary flat Earth cosmology. I put stationary before the shape of the Earth because I believe that the motion is more important. Remember, the Copernicus revolution is based on revolutions, i.e. motion, which does not exist. Okay, even he admitted this. He said it is not something to be taken as absolute truth. It's only there to explain certain phenomena. All right, so there's all the examples. I've gone into everywhere. The Mayans, the freaking Indians, all of them, Islam, all of them. They were all flat. Okay, excuse me. So let's go down to some of the comments. And I want to make an example out of a couple of idiots. I'm not going to... I'll try and hide. Oops! I'll try and hide my comments because my language is very, very, very harsh. There he is. Can you see that? Marshall Stanton. Are you seeing that?
Yep.
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 Oh, good. Okay. Sorry, I thought I'd lost you. You're very quiet. What's going on, guys? You guys know how to mute, don't you?
Santos, we know you've got something to say, but can I just say you're showing the Hangout link?
On what?
I think you're showing the Hangout link. You need to go to application and share, because otherwise trolls can come in.
Oh, application.
Just carry on. Let's just carry on. We'll just have to deal with it if they do. Carry on, please, because I don't want to stop you, because we were listening to you because you've got something to say. So please carry on, Santos. We'll just go for it.
Okay. Anyway, so I posted. You can't see me at all. My screen.
We see your whole screen, but that's the point. You're sharing your whole screen, and that's including your Hangout share. And that's the point of not sharing that particular link.
Okay, look, I'll fix that. I'll fix it. It's better to fix it, I think. All right. So, which button do I press to share screen?
Application.
Just share. the first share screen, and then you check the application tab, and there you get all the applications you can share. But first you have to unplug your Facebook tab into a new window so that you can actually share directly your Facebook.
Just get the page up you want to show it on, Santos, and then press application share.
That's what I did. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Oh, I need some technical people here. I just don't understand. They're changing their applications and the nature of them so quickly. Every day they're upgrading things, and I just can't keep up. Anyway, here is Cox here. This is his quote. "There is absolutely no basis at all for thinking the world is flat. Nobody in human history, as far as I know," well, what a dunce, "has thought the earth was flat." Professor, see the fess in there, the fess, cesspool, Brian Cox. Yeah, so that's why I wrote, "Get your hand off your Cox, pretty boy shill." If you read books, you'll know that this globetardery only started, a few years ago, whereas people were stationary and flat forever before that, and that is forever. Okay, so you can see these little pictures here. Can you see the Yggdrasil tree inside of the Taurus field?
All of them.
All of these? Okay, well, here's Brian Stanton, Mr. Genius. Notice the trees and serpents in those pictures. I know for a fact, Santos knows, trees and serpents are metaphors and not literal. Unless he's going to reverse his position and claim the flat earth rests on a giant tree with a literal snake wrapped around it. So yeah, no reason to think the discs in those pictures are meant to be accurate either. Well, you dumb piece of shit, Marshall Stanton. Here's my reply. Of course they are not literal, dumb beep. I'm glad you've been watching my presentations, but you have not paid attention due to your excessive bad habits. Another empty-headed, useless eater like Cullen Smith, the cuck of pseudoscience. I don't have to change my position. I have explained many times, if only you were listening. The snake is in reference to the magnetic energy surrounding all torus fields. And the tree is the hyperboloid tree, Tauri tree of the torus donut. The solar system is in the shape of a torus and does have these forms, which are not animals, but are associated with animals. Anyway, I'll leave it at that because my language is pretty colourful there. I love that language, especially when it's dealing with faceless shills, cowards and idiots like Marshall Stanton. And then we have Paul Bell. Please check out Paul Bell on Facebook. He says he should have stuck to making music, as back in the day, in the group he was in, they actually released good dance music. But as a scientist, he is an outright liar and pathetic excuse for a human being to promote the New World Order agenda. First of all, I've never played dance music. I don't know whose music you've been listening to. Perhaps it was the Village People. Yeah, Paul Bell and the Village People. I think that's the dance music you're talking about, because I play instrumental music, flamenco music, classical, baroque, and I've never done dance music in my life. So there you go. Thank you, Paul Bell, for giving me a genre that I never had before. Appreciate that. Now, just getting back to these animals, because we often get dunces who don't know how to read mythologies, of course, and they hear about the flat earth being supported by a tortoise, being supported by elephants. And, you know, as they believe in Santa Claus coming down the chimney, they obviously think that these animals are actually physical animals, you know. Well, the fact is the tortoise that is holding the cosmos is the Taurus tortoise. It's not an animal. It is in the shape of an animal, because all animals are Tauruses. Hence, when the ancient cosmologies talk about animals, 4 elephants standing on top of the tortoise, etc., these are the 4 posts or the 4 foundations of the Taurus fields. The 4 cardinal direction, the 4 winds, the 4 angels who are holding, who have the power to hold the form of the cosmos with their electromagnetic energy. The animal's electromagnetic. Our ancients were not stupid as we are. They used the appropriate animals as symbols, you know. Aries in astrology, it doesn't mean you're going to look for a little sheep, blah, 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 on the ecliptic. There's no animals up on the ecliptic. You know, astronomers that point to Taurus. You're not looking for a cow mooing. These are symbols. And those animals epitomize the energy of those spaces. Aries is not a lamb, you know, in the pastures on the ecliptic. It is the fire energy symbolized by that particular animal, which describes and explains the energy of the ecliptic along the first 30 degrees of any sine wave that has ever been produced in the history of electromagnetism. So these ancients were far smarter than we were, embedding their cosmologies with the appropriate symbols. Whereas today we've lost all that because we think they were stupid, whereas they were far, far more wise than we are. All right, guys, I mean, that's enough of my anger, because I woke up like this, seeing these comments on my Facebook page, and I had to address that very, very quickly, because I just can't stand stupid. I really cannot stand stupid. You know, the flat earth movement has come at the right time to separate the sheep from the goats, the intelligent from the stupid. I've always longed to, when I first discovered the real deep truths that I've uncovered in the last 10 years, since I've been fully awakened to what's going on, I've always prayed that something would come to sort out the half-truthers out there who are standing on their soapboxes peddling bullshit, pseudoscience. And I thought to myself, what could it be? But something will come to sort them out. And thank God the truth of flat earth movement has come, because as far as I see, all the stupid idiots that I've disrespected in the first place that were hanging around syncretism, they've all jumped off the syncretism ship into the shark-infested waters of pseudoscience and gone and shown their stupidity by supporting their globe-tartery and their upside-downness. And I thank God, because I am now only surrounded by intelligent people who have use of their own minds. So there's the angry bits. I suppose you can cut those out. Let's go to the eclipse, eh?
Thanks for sharing that with us, Santos. I know it gets very frustrating sometimes. We totally understand, especially when you've dedicated your life. And I've said this before, people do not understand that you're an activist. You actually go and stand outside places. People are questioning you in the streets, and you're standing up for people's rights. And half these people haven't got a clue.
No clue, clueless. But these guys, anyway, I'm making, it's kind of redundant what I'm doing, because everyone on my Facebook page knows that they must be shills, because you can't be a human being and be that stupid. So, you know, you can excuse all that bad language, because it's really written to no one. So the intelligent people are getting a lot of
it's not like you, Santos. You're a gentleman all the time. I've never known you other than a gentleman. So you must have been flipping angry.
Oh yeah, I'm a gentleman who can absolutely tear to shred the stupid ones.
I think most people know you as a gentleman. So yeah.
Well, I can be a gentleman. I can be nasty too. So you know, I'm not. What you see is what you get with me. I don't have to be sweet and smiling and kind and nice to protect my income and my donations and my support and my reputation. I don't give a shit about that. All I do is put first the truth. That's all I'm interested in. I've got no time for materialistic pursuits and trying to prop up my ego time and time again. I'm always there propping up truth, not me, truth. People get it confused because they're so wrapped up in their egos that they think that I'm like them. I'm not interested in this plane. I'm getting out of here. There is nothing here on this plane. There's no billions of dollars of money. There are no buildings. There are no mountains. There are no rivers. There are no beautiful women. There is nothing here for me. Nothing. I'm here just to serve people with truth and then get the fuck out of here as quick as I can and go back to source where I know I will go. These people don't even know where they're going. They're clueless.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is my my post, which I will read, I guess, and then I'll provide some other links so people can go and do some research to understand exactly how eclipses work, time and time again. And the elite, the controlling elite, who have confiscated all of the science which is able to predict eclipses on a flat Earth plane, and hoarded it and hidden it so that we will not notice how eclipses work, have done this deliberately to dumb people down. So I'm going to expose this. It's easy to do. It's very easy. I'm no, you know, I'm not trying to be Mr. Smart here, Mr. Genius. I'm just trying to show people how easy it is to discover the truth. It's very, very easy. The liars are lying through their teeth. And so what they set up is these upside down dunces who point to us and say, oh, yeah, we don't, you can't explain how flights work in the Southern Hemisphere. You can't explain how star trails work in the Southern Hemisphere. You can't explain this other thing. So they've got 3 or 4 things that they stumble on. Therefore, they shut the door to penetrating the truth about the cosmology we live in. Therefore, doing themselves the greatest injustice they possibly could. Because if they thought about it, their globetrottery has 1 billion holes in it, and not even one thing that they believe that they are explaining to prove they live on a globe stands up. It's got millions of holes, and yet they point to this one thing that they can't understand and think that we can't explain because other flat earthers have not explained them properly, due to we've only had 3 or 4 years at this, whereas the controllers have had hundreds of years to build up a false edifice of demonic pseudoscience, backed up with more lies, backed up with more lies, and backed up with more CGI phony images of the cosmos. And people go after that bullshit. So it's time to be aggressive and destroy the retardedness on this plane, guys. I know you guys are much more sweet and humble and kind than I am, but we have to be aggressive against the stupidity and not tolerate it. Just like the scriptures say, Krishna, when demonic activity abounds on the plane of the earth, he will come and he will absolutely demolish all demons. And these people are demon worshippers. Probably some people listening in right now might think, that's a bit harsh, that's a bit out there. You know, where do you get that from? Well, it is, because all pseudoscience has its root in demons, and demons care not for truth. Their purpose, and it is their appointed purpose, to vanquish truth the moment it blossoms and buds anywhere on the plane, as at the moment they are aware of this. Okay, now when you study deeply, you learn these things. Many great occultists and scientists of esoteric wisdom have pointed this out, that seated at Rome is the most evil priesthood that ever existed. those cardinals of Rome, the Apostolic Senate of the Babylonian Empire. And they've stated time and again that their purpose, they work in unison with invisible demonic forces, the Vatican this is, to destroy truth the moment it germinates, wherever it may germinate. And believe you me, they have all their little foot soldiers and their institutions. All of these organizations around the globe have been infiltrated by the Jesuits, and the order is to report to them the moment anyone starts suggesting anything that varies from the mainstream academic point of view. And why is this? Why is this witch hunt going on? The Inquisition is still continuing, and witches are being burnt for teaching the truth about, herbal remedies and the vegetarian lifestyle and the philosophical lifestyle that we should be living rather than the materialistic lifestyle. Why is it that they have gone after, they conquered the Americas and destroyed all their flat earth cosmologies, the Aborigines here in Australia, all flat earthers, stationary flat earthers. China was flat until the 18th century. Then the Opium Wars by the Jesuits and the Rothschilds destroyed the stability of that nation, and they went in and infiltrated and changed all the cosmologies to suit their globe, the globalists. And then Japan, for hundreds of years, they were penetrating Nagasaki to make their institutions on Kyushu in the southern island of Japan so that they could then take the mainland. And the samurai were beheading all the Jesuits because they knew what they were up to, pretending to be scientists, pretending to be helpers, friends, commercial traders, etc. And so these people are unaware of the recent history and what has been done to us to remove us from our stationary existence on this plane and put us on a globe so that they could have their global currency and global economy and global religion and global governance and global warming and global, all those crocks of shit.
Take your freedom away.
Yeah, they have. They've put people on a prison globe, upside down spinning idiots. They're all useless idiots. That's what they are. Humans are useless idiots. Okay, here we go, guys. I'm sorry to be angry. Look, when I wake up like this, that's the whole day gone.
Santos, we love you. Carry on.
Okay, so I'll just read this. You can see it? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yep, we see it.
Thank you. Okay. Stationary Earth, flat Earth explanation. I always put stationary before flat, guys. Please do the same, all right? Because we have umpteen experiments proving that the Earth does not move, which I will show you here. Toward the end, I'm going to show you this 3-minute video, which we've already done on this show, but I'm going to do it properly this time, okay? We're going to watch this 3-minute video with English subtitles, listening to Pierluigi Ghina in 2001, explaining how you can prove the Earth does not move. This is science, okay? So stationary goes first, even though you can prove that the Earth is flat easily, very, very easily. People still can be more influenced if they see all the umpteen hundreds of scientific experiments since the days of James Bradley in 1729, when he did the telescope experiment 150 years before George Airy, and he proved that the Earth was stationary in 1729. Okay, so all right, I won't deviate anymore. I'm just going to read. Stationary Earth explanation for the backwards movement of the eclipse shadow on the 21st of August. The upcoming solar eclipse of 21st August has bamboozled the cult of Santa Ball. That's my expression, guys. That's mine. I'll be famous for that one, please. Those who subscribe to the Copernican hypothesis/theory. Why? It should be straightforward to explain, shouldn't it? They are the ones who have told us that their model is correct, scientific, and official, conventional, accepted, etc. Well, it is straightforward to explain, but they can't explain it. You won't hear it from the Copernican academic deceivers. Why? Because if they told you the truth about eclipses and explained how they work, you would immediately see through the falsehood of the globe model, and you would see that the Earth is stationary and flat. Simple. That would void the global agenda in a heartbeat, and a lot of corporations that have everything to lose as they had a vested interest in the globe. This upcoming eclipse will be viewed in the USA and will cast a 70-mile wide shadow traveling from west to east, contrary to the usual flow of celestial traffic. Oops. Big oops. Houston, we have a problem. So this is the prayer of the globalists. Oh, help us, Santa God, to save our Santa ball. Please, Santa God, help us explain this anomaly to the programmed upside-down spinners so we can continue to deceive them. There it is, quote from the false prophets / deceivers of the cult of Santa Ball, globalists. Here's the real explanation for the eclipse. You will easily be able to explain all eclipses once you understand how they work. Firstly, click on this astrological link below and punch the time. Well, what I'll do is I'll do this in real time for you guys. How's that? Oh, no.
It's a half link.
Oh, it works. Oh, is that link not working?
No, it's good. You got it now. You're good. We can see it.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Something's wrong here.
A half link.
Sorry, guys. I'll fix that in real time, right? Because that's not good. People will be going there, and you need to be able to click on that link, all right? So once you see what I'm doing, okay, there's the link. I'll fix that. Let's go back to here. All right.
The last link doesn't work as well.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there are more links. Same.
Yes, it does work. It works.
Yeah, but there are several more links having the same problem.
Okay.
It's all cut off.
God.
It's only a couple of clicks to sort out, Santos, that.
No worries. I'll do that now because people might want to click on them as we go. Okay, so is that all right?
It's fine, Santos. We're with you. Carry on.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta love Facebook algorithms. They always mess up stuff.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes where only half the link comes through and that you save the whole link. It's a bit strange, that.
Yeah, you know what? They're making these applications harder to use. They used to be so straightforward and user friendly. Now they're just ridiculous. Bear with me, please.
Okay, but at least you noticed the mistake and you can sort it out.
Yeah.
All right, it's all done. Right, so I'll show people what they need to do, how to be able to work the astrological applications here. So I've put here, you need to put in 10:30 a.m., place Los Angeles. Yes, I know that the eclipse will start on the West Coast in Washington State near Portland, Seattle, but we're not looking for declination here. We're looking for the longitudinal value. So Los Angeles is pretty much okay. All right, just keep things simple. And here we've got the 21st of August. So what we'll do, I do have the charts of the astrological ecliptic here, as you can see at the bottom. But I want to show people who are not so familiar with how to work astrology, because astrology will teach us our true cosmology. And I'll prove that by the end of this show, okay? Now, 21st of August, we need to go to 2017, and let's do about 10:30 a.m., was it?
Yeah.
Los Angeles. Right, so what we've got here, now, this is how to understand this wheel. Most people will see this and that they can understand nothing of it, okay? What you're going to get is a real crash course to understanding this chart, which is both astronomical and astrological, okay? So what you see here, this is the eastern horizon. So you cut a line right across the middle here. That's the ascendant. So this is the east where everything rises. So as you can see at 10:30 in the morning, Jupiter is rising. You'll see a big star in the east before the ecliptic. Look out for Jupiter. Very, very big star. Jupiter will be rising in the east about 10 or 10:30 in the morning, or even around. Oh no, you won't see it because the sun will be right up here. It's in mid-morning, 10:30. Okay, the MC here, this is 12 midday, the meridian. Okay, and by the way, this is how you get AM and PM. Everything on the left side of the MC here is AM, anti-meridian. What's the meridian? This line here, going straight up and down, vertical. That's the meridian. So everything here, from here, this point here down below, is 12 midnight. So this is where AM, anti-meridian, is, and this is where post-meridian is, because everything after the midpoint, the medio cielo, coelo, or middle of the heavens, okay, this is like the apex, what do you call this properly, not the summit, not the apex, anyway, it'll come to me. And then here is where the sun sets over here. This is like 6 p.m. over here. So we have a 24-hour clock. That's what you're looking at. So when the eclipse happens, it'll be about 10:30 on the west coast, okay? Now what you can see clearly is that the sun and moon are conjunct. 28 degrees. And you see Rahu, the north node, is at 24 degrees. Pay attention to this. Every time there is an eclipse, Rahu is right there next door. All right, so we're going to work out what Rahu is, because Rahu is what's causing the eclipse, not the moon. Because if it was the moon, we would have an eclipse or a partial eclipse every 29.5 days. This is why you can never see the moon when it's conjunct the sun. And we're going to understand why that is. So let's go back to my reading and we'll come back to this for reference. Are you following me?
Yes, we are, Santos.
All good.
And hopefully the chat room is as well.
Hope so, because this is pretty simple, really. Here you will see the sun and moon conjunct on the 28th degree of Leo. This is clearly showing the sun and moon together, conjunct. Here is where mainstream science concludes that the moon is passing in front of the sun since she is closer to us than the sun, according to the Copernican theory. Therefore, she will eclipse the sun. This is not at all what is happening, and they know it. Any other day, this would be a simple, everyday, normal, straightforward new moon. Why is it that you can never see the moon at the time of the new moon at all for the better part of 2 days? The moon is not seen because it is, quote unquote, under the beams of the sun. Now let's click on that one. What does it mean to be under the beams of the sun? Well, astrology has the answers, doesn't it? Let's have a look here. Astrological dictionary, under the beams. A planet is said to be under the beams when it comes within a certain range of a conjunction with the sun. When a planet is under the beams, its light is completely overwhelmed and obscured as a result of its close proximity to the sun. The exact range in which a planet becomes visible or invisible is based on its proximity to the sun, varies based on the planet involved, as well as other factors such as atmospheric conditions. However, astrologers during the Hellenistic tradition used a standardized range of 15 degrees on either side of the sun for a planet to be considered to be under the beams, or I use the expression under the rays. Okay, therefore, in most ancient Greek and Latin texts from the Hellenistic and Roman period, when a planet is said to be under the beams, it means that it is within 15 degrees of a conjunction with the sun. All right, so that's that. We can take that away, and we go to just one more thing, guys. No, we want this one. Here is another term you will hear in astrology: combust. So under the rays and combust. Combust is also interesting. We need to understand this. A planet is combust when it is in conjunction with the sun and therefore hidden from sight by the light of the sun. Traditionally, this is a serious debility and implies that the planet is weakened or restricted in power. Should I read the next bit? Yeah, look, I'll read this next bit about Cazimi because it's another aspect. However, if a planet is within 17 minutes of arc of the sun, it is termed Cazimi, in the heart of the sun. I mean, that's a perfect conjunction. That means they're exactly on the same, virtually the same degree, but they have to be within 17 minutes of arc, okay, to be Cazimi, which is very, very, very special. And people born under that conjunction are very, very blessed and powerful people. So it says, and is considered strengthened by the union. In his introduction, William Lilly stated that the combust planet should be in the same sign as the sun and within 8 degrees 30 minutes. Beyond this distance, but within 17 degrees of the sun, the planet is said to be under the sun's beams. This condition is debilitating, but not as severe as combustion. Combustion is more debilitating because it's within 8.5 degrees. And what that means is it's actually behind the sun, guys. Because remember, even the astrologers knew that the sun spanned 32 minutes of arc in the sky, okay, of 1 degree, 32 minutes. This is why they have this 17 minutes up here is exactly half of the width of the sun, okay? From our perspective, it's not literal, from our perspective, okay? And so, but the 8 degrees combust, that's different. That means they are directly behind the sun, because 8 and 8 degrees gives you 16, which is half of the sun, which is definitely, well and truly behind the sun. And what we're going to see is that the moon is higher than the sun, and she passes behind the sun during the new moon, okay? And this was known to the ancients. Now, I'll just put this up so people can just read the rest. I will not read it. Okay, there it is. I'm going to pull this down now and move on. Shit. It's embarrassing. All right. If the moon is closer, so okay, I'll continue reading from before that link. The moon is not. Oh shit, where was I? I'll start from the top. This is not at all what is happening, and they know it. Any other day, this would be a simple, everyday, normal, straightforward new moon. How do I get rid of my chats?
Busy man, Santos.
Got it. Got it. Sorry, guys. I probably embarrassed those guys. They might have had the very private messages and the whole world's going to see them. I'll have to look at that later. Okay. Why is it that you can never see the moon at the time of the new moon at all for the better part of 2 days? The moon is not seen because it is under the beams of the sun. If the moon is closer to us than the sun, it should always be visible. It should be visible all month long. It is invisible at the time of the new moon because the moon becomes invisible due to its close proximity to the sun. So if people think this is hocus pocus, all they've got to do is go out at midday on the new moon, on the day of the new moon, and look up at the sun and look for the moon. Where is it? You never see the sun and moon together at the same size. There they are sitting there together. And even though the moon's ecliptic plane is 5 degrees skew width of the sun's ecliptic plane, the moon should always be at the new moon in front of the sun and fully visible. And every month, every 29.5 days, there should be a partial eclipse of the sun, because that 5 degrees of differential of ecliptic planes between the sun and the moon will cause the moon and the sun to be so conjunct that they will overlap each other always, every single day of history, every single month. And yet it doesn't. You never, ever see the moon. It goes totally invisible. Now, if it was a rock floating around in space at 220,000 miles away, whereas the sun is 93 million miles away, where is the moon at the new moon? Where is it, globetards? Where is the moon at the new moon? Okay, continuing. So what is eclipsing the sun? Big question, hey? Because it's not the moon. You will notice on the astrological chart you have in front of you that the North Node is on the 24th degree of Leo, just 4 degrees away from the sun and moon, as it always is at every eclipse in the history of the universe. This is the cause of the eclipse. The Hindus call this Rahu, the head of the dragon. It is also known as the black sun. You will also notice that the little letter R just near the North Node, there it is. Can you see that, guys?
Oh, yeah.
See that R? Right. That means it's retrogressing. What's retrogressing mean? Well, let's have a look at something for a bit. Okay, so we've already learned that this wheel turns clockwise. So here's the sun at 10:30 a.m. At 12 midday, the sun will be here. 2 o'clock, it'll be here, and the sun will be in the 9th house. Then at 4 o'clock, the sun will be in the 8th house. Then at 4 to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, the sun will be over here, setting, and it'll go past this point here, this cusp, and it'll have set. Now, but all these planets, they are all going anti-clockwise, guys, because the signs, they go anti-clockwise. Here's Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, anti-clockwise, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sag, Cap, Aquarius, Pisces. So the sun, on the 21st of August, is about to leave the sign of Leo. It's on the 28th degree. On the 22nd, it will be on the 29th degree. A day for a degree, because the sun, in its 365-day journey around the 360-degree ecliptic, is roughly a day per degree. So on the 22nd, the sun will be on the 29th degree of Virgo, and the moon will be where? Well, the moon will have advanced 13 degrees. So she will be in the 12th degree of Virgo. She will be right here, just past Mercury. Mercury's retrograding at that time, by the way. And Saturn will have gone direct the day after, on the 22nd of August. Very interesting, this. Pay attention. Only the ones who pay attention, the intelligent ones who have eyes to see and ears to hear, will get what I'm talking about, okay? So the moon will have advanced. She's going this away, guys. The sun is going this away, anti-clockwise. As they turn daily, clockwise once, they are yearly journeying this way. If you master this, you will be a master of astrology. You will understand how this works. Now,
If you ask me, you
so,
can animate.
hey?
If you ask me, you can actually animate this. In
Yes,
time,
brother.
actually,
Yes.
in time steps that you can actually see which rhythms there are.
Exactly. Now pay attention. Mercury is in Virgo at the moment, or at that time, okay? And he is retrogressing. So guess what? He's going clockwise. He's going this way, guys. Okay? Saturn, slowly, he's going that way too. Because he's retrogressing. His normal traffic is going anti-clockwise. So Rahu is obviously going in this direction as well. So first thing, if you are intelligent and you're paying attention, you will say, well, hang on though. Rahu's going this way, and the sun and moon obviously must be proceeding forward along the ecliptic anti-clockwise this way. So how can Rahu, if he's on the 24th degree of Leo, and the sun on that day and moon are on the 28th degree, 4 degrees away, that's a long distance in the heavens. How can Rahu be eclipsing the sun? Well, easy, because Rahu is a fragmented body, invisible, dark, shadowy, substanceless body in the sky, broken up into 7 pieces, and they are all around this node. See, Rahu is here, and its opposite node is exactly 180 degrees opposite in Aquarius over here on the 24th degree of Aquarius. That's called Ketu, the south node. So what is a node? First of all, let's address this. Okay, here is a Vedic astrology depiction of it, the best one I could find. It's very simple, and it's based on the Earth being a ball in the middle here. Now, let's just ignore that. So these are the nodes, these 2 points. Okay, here, this one is called Rahu. Here it is, ascending node, because it ascends. You have to go, the moon has to go up 5 degrees here, higher than the sun's. This is the sun's ecliptic here. The main ecliptic, this one, and this one is the moon's, okay? And they intersect at these fulcrums. They're called nodes. This one's Ketu, the descending node, the south node. South because the moon goes south, okay? She's below the sun here. But at the north node here, she goes behind the sun. So this is the path of the sun here, okay? Now, nodal axis, pay attention, rotating counterclockwise. So this axis here of the nodes is constantly going in this direction, backwards, retrogressing all the time. It takes 18.5 years for Rahu to go from this point here in Leo. Rahu will be retrogressing for 18 years to get back to this point here. Okay, so when you watch the ecliptic on the 21st, you will notice that the shadow on the sun that blocks the sun completely is going backwards. It's retrogressing. And this is what many cosmologists of history, including Gabrielle Henriette in Heaven and Earth, the True Cosmology, in her book in the late 1800s. Oh no, sorry, the mid 1900s, where she wrote, how can the moon retrogress when she never retrogresses just to perform the solar eclipse? She's going in the same direction as the sun. She can never ever go backwards, doing a backwards shadow on the earth. It's impossible. And even the flat earthers out there that are trying to explain it, they're explaining it as if it was the moon causing the shadow. The moon causes no shadow of the sun. The sun causes the moon to become invisible, and you have your own proof. Just go to go out at midday or any time of the day when it's the new moon, and you'll see the moon is nowhere to be seen, and yet she's there with the sun. Astronomy tells you that. Astrology tells you that. Common sense tells you that. Common knowledge tells you that, and yet you cannot see the moon. Why? Because she is a sonoluminescent, self-illuminating body. And she passes behind the sun. Let's have a look at this site. I will link these sites, guys. Here is a beautiful site. Solar eclipses are not caused by the moon. NASA. Anyway, here, just read here. It says, according to Vedic astronomy, the most ancient and accurate system of astronomy on the planet, solar eclipses are not caused by the moon coming in front of the sun.
Can you post the links? Can you post the links?
Yeah.
Also, the one of the.
Tell you what, Santos. In a minute, if you write something in the chat room, I'll make you a wrench, and then you can put your links out.
Okay. Well, there's that one. All right. Let me just continue here. The eclipse is not caused by the moon coming in front of the sun, as astronomers believe. Rather, the moon is described as being further away than the sun. And what happens at the time of the solar eclipse is the moon goes behind the sun. And a dark planet called Rahu comes between the sun and the earth. Okay, that's gone. This one here, okay, let's just, these are all globe. These are mostly globe heliocentric models that are explaining things correctly with a incorrect model, as I used to do with my astrotheological presentations, explaining astrotheology correctly, but using a wrong model, which was heliocentrism. I should have listened to the astrologers who had it right from the start. Everything is geocentric. So I made a big mistake. I was poncing around as a Santa Baller, pontificating, with the wrong model, and now I've corrected that. So everything's 100% correct with astrotheology as it stands. Now, we don't need that one. No, we don't. Oh yeah, we'll stick with that. Okay, so let's continue. So you will notice the little letter R just near the north node. This means the north node is in retrograde mode. In other words, it is retrogressing. Hence, it goes backwards to block the sun due to its retrograde motion. Duh, the moon's not going backwards. It cannot be the moon, period. The moon never goes retrograde, and so cannot be making the backwards shadow from west to east. Only Rahu can do this, since he is right there and retrogressing. Oh, that's a nice coincidence, isn't it? A coincidence which the liars do not want you to notice / discover / understand. The Jesuits, who control all astronomical mainstream knowledge, know very well that the black sun is broken up into 7 pieces / disks, and they are scattered around the north node. They also know that when one of these 7 disks passes in front of the sun, it eclipses the sun, while the moon passes behind the sun at the time of the new moon. The solar eclipse can only happen when the new moon occurs conjunct the north node. It cannot happen anywhere else along the ecliptic. Pay attention. All solar eclipses happen when the sun is near Rahu, period. That's it. Whereas the lunar eclipse will happen when the full moon occurs near the south node, as in the case of the partial eclipse of the moon on the 8th of August, just 3 or 4 days ago, which you can easily see if you punch in the date, 8th of August, 4 p.m, Brisbane, Australia. There you will see clearly that the sun and moon are directly opposite each other, sun in 15 degrees Leo, and moon in 15 degrees Aquarius, directly 180 degrees opposed to each other. But notice the south node right there, 9 degrees away at the 24th degree of Aquarius. This is why it was a partial eclipse, because 9 degrees is too far away for the south node to completely cover the full moon. Here you can read about Rahu and the true cause of the solar eclipse? So let's do that now. Wikipedia. Oh, what are they hiding? Well, let's have a look-see. Rahu. In Hindu tradition, Rahu is the severed head of the Asura demon called Svarbhanu that swallows the sun, causing eclipses. He is depicted in art as a serpent with no body, riding a chariot drawn by 8 black horses. Rahu is one of the Navagraha, the 9 planets in Vedic astrology, and is paired with Ketu. The time of day considered to be under the influence of Rahu is Rahu Kala and is considered inauspicious. In Vedic astronomy, Rahu is considered to be a rogue planet. The other name of Rahu is Bhayanaka. Now, the reason why the ancients were afraid of solar eclipses is because anything that comes in front of the sun sucks up the energy of the sun, and hence mankind is deprived of that beautiful electromagnetic solar luminescence for that short period. Hence, the effect is palpable, okay? It is patent. It is observable only by those who have ears to hear and eyes to see that. Now, let's just continue on. Rahu is mentioned explicitly in a pair of scriptures from the Samayutta Nikaya of the Pali Canon, etc., etc. Let's just go forward. It says, the verses recited by the 2 celestial deities. Sorry, no, I want to read here. The Buddha responds by enjoining Rahu to release them, which Rahu does rather than have his head split into 7 pieces. So what happens is this Rahu is actually, a body of discs, and mostly one of those discs is causing the retrogressing shadow passing in front of the sun. So there you have it. And there's the article, guys. You can see that on my Facebook page. I've just posted it. Now, I just want to finish with one thing. So all the intelligent people paying attention will probably have wondered about this astrological wisdom about planets being invisible due to the beams of the sun. And they'll point to the NASA images of the Venus transit and the Mercury transit, and they'll say, oh yeah, but I can see that CGI dot passing in front of the sun. Ha, ha, ha. So where's astrology now saying that Venus can never, ever be seen passing in front of the sun? She just can't be. What you are seeing is the node of Venus. These are the nodes, people. And the node of Venus is in Gemini. Hence, all Venus transits occur in June, around June the 5th, between June the 5th in Gemini and June I think the 15th or the 18th. Okay, so let's have a look in Wikipedia. Venus transit.
I can't see that particular.
What's that?
I'm looking for your post to actually see it all.
All right, well, I'll tell you where it is. It's so 1 story, 2 posts, 3 posts. I'll count how many posts down. 4, 5, 6, 7. Shit, I better repost it. 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 and August 10th. All right, so let's have a look at Venus transits. When do they occur? Well, interesting. Let's have a look. See. The last Venus transit was on the 5th and 6th of June in 2012. Remember that, guys? 2012, big year, man. Big,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
We had a Venus transit, man, and NASA was showing us this little dot passing in front of the sun. Go to YouTube, have a look at the Venus transit. Have a look at this dot. And they're telling you that that's Venus. What a crock of, man, that's a crock of cow poo. Like, I mean, these
Yeah,
guys are lying through their teeth. It's the node, and the
We were
node is
talking
in
about
Gemini.
that last night. Yeah.
Okay, then you'll have a look.
I was gonna say we were talking about that last night because even according to the heliocentric model, Venus is the same size roughly as the planet Earth is supposed to be. So where's the eclipse from that, right? So yeah.
You will never, ever, ever take this from astrology. Take this from the ancient wisdom. You will never see the moon. You'll never see Venus. You'll never see Saturn. And this is why, and this proves why you never see Saturn anywhere near the sun or Jupiter or Mars, because most globies will tell you, oh yeah, but their orbits past the Earth's orbit, hence they can never go in front of the sun because they can never come in between the sun and the Earth. But Venus and Mercury can, because their orbits are within our orbits. BS. You will never see the sun transit the sun, guys. You'll never see Venus transit the sun. You'll never see Mercury or the moon or any other planet transit the sun. You won't see it. It will never happen. Those are the nodes. Just like you see Rahu, the node on the ecliptic retrogressing past the sun on the 21st of August. Same with Mercury and Venus. It's their nodes. And here again we see on 2004, have a look at this, guys. When did that happen? June the 8th. So the 2012 transit of Venus was on June the 5th. All right, well, let's have a look at Mercury then. Let's have a look at where Mercury's node is. Mercury transit. Are you having fun?
Of course, Santos, it's always good fun with you.
Okay, so look at this. Transits of Mercury occur in May or November. Hello, Taurus, Scorpio. See, transits of Mercury can only happen in this axis, Taurus and Scorpio, because the nodes are in Scorpio and they're fixed and they are in Taurus.
Yeah, that's where you were talking about in the particular video, and where you connect every planet to a particular region. And then
Yes, but think about this, guys. Where is the so-called galactic plane? In which signs? Well, I'll tell you. Right here in between Taurus and Gemini, and opposite Scorpio and Sag. Scorpio and Sag is the center, what they call the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Okay, when you behold, and when you sight Scorpio in the sky on the ecliptic, you'll see the Milky Way galaxy intersects in between Scorpio and Sag, and then on the other side between Taurus and Gemini. So Mercury's nodes are on the galactic plane. Transits of Mercury, have a look at this. Transits of Mercury occur in May or November. The last 4 transits occur on November 15, 99, May 7, 2003, that's Taurus. November is Scorpio. November 8, that's my brother's birthday, is a Scorpio. And May 9, opposite, directly, Taurus. The next will occur on November 11, the 11th of the 11th in 2019, and then on November 13 in 2032. So Mercury rules pretty much, the nodes of Mercury rather, rule in Taurus and Scorpio, and Venus's node is in Gemini. And the other node must be in Sagittarius opposite, but we've never witnessed her so-called transit in the time of Sagittarius. I think we've only ever witnessed Venus always transiting in Gemini. Okay, so this is to shut the mouths of the globies who, when I quoted the ancients as saying that planets that come anywhere near the sun within 15 degrees combust, or rather, not combust, that's 8.5 degrees, are under the beams or under the rays of the sun. The sun causes them to become invisible. Hence, when the sun comes up in the morning, what do the stars do? They flee. You can't see them. Just like Perseus slays Medusa's head, because Perseus is the sun. He is a deacon of Aries, and Aries is the rising sign. And so the deacon of Aries, Perseus, with sword in hand, he cuts Medusa's head off and banishes the stars and the starlit night from the sun. The sun does not tolerate rivals. It does not tolerate fools. Jesus does not tolerate Satan. Horus does not tolerate Set. Cain does not tolerate Abel. Jacob does not tolerate Esau. They are the twins. All right, guys, that's it. So, I don't know, questions maybe, or anything that you want to elaborate on what I've spoken about, because I'm sure there's going to be a detractor who doesn't have ears to hear or eyes to see and will go off picking his nose upside down, finding ways to debunk it with pseudoscience. It's like saying, oh, yes, but we've got a chimney at home, so that proves that Santa Claus comes through the chimney, because chimneys exist. And the North Pole exists. So there's proof of Santa Claus. He's real. His chimneys are real.
Well, thanks very much, Santos. That was
I was going to say, sorry, we've got a lot of questions in chat of people asking you to read their charts for them. So I assume I can send them to your Facebook page to ask for that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
because we want to carry on talking on this for a bit. Maybe at the end of it, if Santos isn't too tired and we've concluded and said what we all need to say, then maybe we can ask a few questions in the chat from the chat room. But Chris has got stuff to say, I think.
Yeah, sorry.
I'd like to talk to or series.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks very much for the presentation. It was excellent. Yeah, it's I've watched a lot of Santos's videos over the years as well. It's awesome to be able to get a in-person type of presentation. So it's great. So I do have a question. I was just wondering, in the Vedic astronomy or astrology, do the Rahu object, is that considered a physical object, or could it also potentially be a magnetic type of self-interfering anomaly type object that's in more than one place?
Everything we see up there, guys, all of it, there's no physicality to it all whatsoever. All of it is transcendental. See, this is where the shape of the earth is perplexing to a lot of people, and they can't explain, and they find that they come to a wall where certain things they can't explain. If only they would penetrate natural science. Natural science tells us that everything is spheres and cubes, spheres and cubes. Hence, you've got the Islamists who go around the Kaaba, which is a black cube, yeah? Black is appropriate because surrounding our torus field flat Earth is a cube in counter space. Okay, so there will be spheres and cubes possibly going out in 4 dimensions, in the 4th dimension, the 5th dimension, and so on. They will just go out and expand outwardly, because look at your torus field, your torso torus field of your body, okay? Inside of it, there are millions of what they call atums, which are toruses. All is torus, all is atum. As above, so below. So your body is surrounded by a spherical golden egg called an aura, or a Torah. Okay, put the T in front of aura. You have an aura, yeah? Your soul, your 7 chakras, your body, your torus field has an aura. Well, that's a Torah, because your torso is a Taurus. Your body comes from your mother's uterus, you know, and it slides past the clitoris into the Taurus cosmos of the golden egg in which you live. And people live in this golden egg of spheres. We live inside of spheres, not on a sphere. You see, all of those spheres bounded by cubes are intersected by planes. And the plane is what we live on. And so what you're looking at when you look out into the cosmos, if we can take those images, CGI images of other galaxies to be correct, we see a gyroscopic galaxy, don't we? We see a galaxy that looks like a gyroscope. We see this this cloud of milky stars in a circle surrounded in the center, and then we see jet streams from the center of this circular cloud of stars, and we see jet streams from the center of this
Santos, I think as you're saying all that, I wondered if you'd actually just look at some of Chris's work then, because he's been modeling stuff and it's basically what you're talking about.
Yeah, we have to understand that spheres are bounded by cubes, bounded by spheres, bounded by cubes, and that's how electromagnetism, field pressure mediates and constructs its reality. And so sound is producing the visible transverse light wave that is the substance behind all material phenomena. It's so basic, and all of our scriptures tell us this. When I read the Bible, I read this. I don't read anything else. When I read Bhagavad Gita, I read this. They're all saying the same thing. They're all saying the same thing. I could be making this presentation in Italian, you know. Se parlo in italiano, nessuno mi comprenderebbe in questo programma. What did I say? Well, an Italian understood what I said. I said, if I speak Italian, no one in this hangout would understand me. But I said something which is understandable. So when the Jesuits, invaded India with the English and the Dutch and the Portuguese and the French to destroy their cosmology, because India has always ruled when it comes to science. They have had a direct what's the word I'm looking for? Not disconnected.
Yeah, they've had like a monopoly on this. Yeah.
Well, all of their books are open to the public, whereas all of our Western tradition science, they're all in the Vatican, and we can't see them for 500 years. We can't see our true cosmology because the Vatican and the Jesuits are hiding it and murdering the witches who try to, like us, who try to expose their lies. But India did not allow Islam or the English to pollute her, and yet they were polluted because they think they're living on a globe. So that's how powerful the Jesuits are with their money, buying and bribing and corrupting scientists even, because as Jesus said, the deception will be the false prophets with their lying portents and deceiving signs will try to mislead even the chosen ones, meaning even the decent ones who are intelligent and who love spiritual science. Even they will be perverted and be reduced to dunces. So they're all upside down spinning and orbiting and wobbling and floating and thrusting and hurtling through space. Supposedly this sod of dirt wrapped in water is hurtling at Mach 88 around the sun. Mach 88, guys. Yeah? 66,600 miles an hour, 666, orbiting the sun. That's Mach 88. Have you ever seen images of jet pilots under the G-forces of Mach 2, Mach 3? Have you seen their faces?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, that gravitational, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mach 88 is exponential, isn't it? It's not constant. So when you go to Mach 4, Mach 5, it's all exponentially growing, is it not?
That's correct, yeah.
Right. So what's Mach 88? Well, this is what it is. We're floating we're orbiting the sun at Mach 88 on a sod of dirt. Okay? wrapped in water, spinning, rotating at Mach 1.35. That's 1,035 miles an hour at the equator. And that would mean that between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., our heads would be facing the full brunt of, and the atmosphere on top of us will be facing the full brunt of Mach 88 compression heat. And then between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. every day, we're on the backside of the globe, we should be getting sucked by a vacuum and by a rarefaction that will just deplete us of our oxygen and we will perish. Either way, as we're spinning and rotating and we're orbiting at Mach 88, we should be feeling the compression during the day and the rarefaction during the night. Heat during the day and cold at night. Well, we do actually, don't we? We do feel warm at day and cold at night, but that's not because of the orbit. It's not at all. We can't be moving at Mach 88. Now, let me go to Pierluigi again, folks. I'm going to play you a nice little video. Oh, am I sharing still?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, 3-minute video. I'll shut up. And then after that, we'll have a look at something, right? Because at the end, I mean, if you watch closely and read the English subtitles, you will see that Pierluigi Ghina mentions a scientist from Calabria, where I come from in southern Italy, who has made a machine that can detect 1/10 of a millimeter of the movement of the Earth. And here is the genius who worked with Marconi for 10 years talking to the interviewer, and he's going, you tell me, does the Earth move or not? If my friend Jekiki, that's his name, Jekiki, who invented this machine, he said, if it's so sensitive that it can detect the movement of the Earth 1/10 of a millimeter, which is about the breadth of a bee's dick. So if the Earth is moving that far, the breadth of a bee's dick, and the machine can detect it, is the Earth moving at Mach 88 or not? And the interviewer didn't know what to say. And he said, the Earth is stationary. In Italian, you'll hear him say, la terra è ferma, terra firma. Okay, here we go. Enjoy.
La cosa principale è che queste informazioni fa ridere.
You can't share it. Yeah, you switch back to your icon because of the full screen. Just make it a big window.
Yeah, you'll have to share the application thing again, Santos.
Done. All right, is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a comment there before you start, hit play there, just so folks get a perspective on it. Mach 88 is 108,666, or yeah, 108,662 kilometers an hour, just to put it in this perspective for people.
I
That's
don't know.
moving.
You did it full screen again, or?
Yeah.
We've lost the presentation again, Santos.
Yeah, probably because I put it full screen, yeah?
Yeah, that's when you lose it.
Okay, I got it. I remember that. Okay, I'll fix that.
Just make it the big window.
All right, intelligent people, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
And can you see the subtitles clearly?
Yeah.
All righty, here we go, guys, because I'll just play it straight. I won't stop, okay? Then people can pause on the subtitles and read exactly what this genius who died in 2004, and he was a colleague of Guglielmo Marconi. Okay, now Marconi is in the history books. Marconi is respected. And Marconi discovered that the Earth is stationary. This is Marconi's discovery, people. It's Marconi's discovery. All right. And now the beauty of this is we have it in real time. We are going to see a machine that proves that the Earth is stationary. Okay. This is not George Airy, the astronomer royal of Great Britain in the late 1800s. For 46 years, the world's leading astronomer who did his telescope experiment, and they labeled it Airy's failure because he failed to show movement of the Earth. That's why this poor old astronomer failed. Here we go.
La cosa principale è che queste conoscenze, la cosa principale è che queste conoscenze adesso fa ridere, perché non è possibile dire che la Terra è ferma e gira l'energia. Eppure quando vanno a mandare su i missili sopra, ma non possono andare direttamente, ma devono prendere una traiettoria che è il movimento rotatorio del Sole che fa spostare per arrivare a quel punto. Quando voi sparate, siete dei cacciatori voi altri, no? No. Beh, il cacciatore quando spara mette dentro la pallottola e poi spara, ma dentro nella canna c'è una spirale che lo fa girare per vincere il movimento rotatorio dell'energia che sente. Invece l'uomo crede che la Terra è... Ma Picchi ha fatto un apparecchio talmente sensibile...
questo, scusi?
Zecchichi, professor Zecchichi, lo conoscete, no? È quello che studia là, che fa dei grandi studi.
Contemporaneo?
Laggiù in Bassa Italia, Zecchichi.
Solo io che non lo conosco.
Ad ogni modo, ha fatto un apparecchio talmente sensibile che la Terra, appena che si muove un decimo di millimetro, si riscontrano. Allora, la Terra è ferma o si muove?
Secondo questi apparecchi?
Questo apparecchio può vedere che la Terra è ferma. Ecco, voi vedete, qui c'è energia solare e energia terrestre. Lo vedete questo che è fermo? Noi vediamo quello là che si muove, perché è l'energia solare che fa girare il movimento della Terra.
Vedete l'ombra?
È l'ombra, noi vediamo l'ombra, perché questo è fermo. È per quello che fra 15 e 20 anni cominceranno a credere, perché sono convinti che la Terra è ferma.
Ma ad esempio, quando tipo adesso mai i russi e gli americani, qua tutto il mondo ha i satelliti, no? E proprio il satellite, da satellite diciamo ha un obiettivo.
È uguale, solo che invece di credere che la Terra gira l'energia solare.
Ah, è l'energia che gira?
L'energia solare che gira.
E lei in base a quale conoscenze?
Guglielmo Marconi ha messo una antenna in alto e una in basso, ha trovato il ritmo Sole-Terra. L'energia solare scende a spirale con le indicazioni di Sole. La Terra riespira, la Terra a senso contrario, perché è rovesciata.
All right, that's it. So, what did you just see there? Oh man, do you realize what you just saw there?
The firmness.
What you just heard?
Yeah, don't move. Nope. Stationary. Yeah.
Exactly. So he said this scientist, he was able to develop a machine that can detect 1/10 of a millimeter of movement of the Earth. Is the Earth moving or not? And he said the Earth is stationary. Then he took this guy into his laboratory and he showed him on the wall, he had all of his electrical devices connected to what he calls an antenna, which is the Earth antenna. And then he connected it to a solar antenna. And he said he did this experiment with Marconi back in the day. They both did this because they realized that there are only two energies that we're working with: a rotating solar energy and Earth energy. And he explains that the sun's energy is rotating, the field is rotating, and it is compressing. See, this is where the gravity people get lost, because they don't understand anything. They're thinking that gravity is pulling, but it's not. It's the electromagnetic solar field, that field that is pushing. There is a push that we call gravity. It's not a pulling. The pulling is dielectric acceleration, dielectric voidance. It's not gravity. It's not gravity. But from on high, the solar rotating energy is saying it is pushing. We do feel that force. It is magnetic. Magnetism is expanding. It is magnitude. It is force. Dielectricity is the opposite. It is inertia and acceleration. So and then he quoted Marconi. You saw it. You saw he said, Marconi and I, we made an antenna that penetrates the earth, and then it extends up into the heavens, and it receives the solar energy and the earth energy. So what he did is he put a strobe light on their fields, and he showed that when you turn on the strobe light, you see movement inside of his stationary laboratory. He said, can you see that the laboratory is not moving? Yeah. And the guy says, yes. And he says, well, you see that shadow there on my instrumentation on the ceiling? He said, you see the shadow is moving, don't you? And he said, yes. He said, well, that shows that the solar energy is rotating. And he said, this is where scientists go wrong, because they are deceived by their senses and they see everything in reverse. He said, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? You see your reverse image. That is the reverse image of you. And this is how scientists see the whole world. They see only effects because they are materialists. They are not spiritualists. They're not transcendentalists. They have not activated their higher minds, and they can't use their minds. They have not use of their minds. All they have is their programming and their education and their pseudoscience, and they keep repeating and regurgitating that.
Copies, no originals.
So his
not
experiment, I suppose, his experiment would be that he did be very similar to the Michelson-Morley experiment that also detected no movement in the Earth relative to light. It's it looks like quite a similar type of, well, it's a different setup, but same results using a different method. That's really cool. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And so how did they counter the Michelson-Morley and Sagnac experiments as well? They invented protons,
they actually created a lie, the Lorentz contraction.
Yeah.
Well, does anyone want to explain that, or do you want me to?
Oh, you can. I was just going to mention that it's probably along the same lines. When Einstein did his thesis on the electrodynamics of moving bodies, he acknowledged the Michelson-Morley experiment as being valid in his theory, and you never learned that in school. And he also acknowledged, the results of Maxwell, which would be very similar. There's no motion, and he took all the motion out of everything and made it a stationary reference plane, and that's how he got around that problem. So carry on with the Lorentz contraction force.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm trying to find something on the internet. I should have prepared that, because here it is, Lorentz-Fitzgerald contraction. What they did, basically what they did was Michelson-Morley set up a massive machine called the interferometer, to see if they could shoot beams of light across, going with the flow, against the flow, with the flow of the spin of the Earth, so-called spin of the Earth, to see if they could detect, interference patterns in the recombined waves once they split the light wave in 90-degree directions. So they recombined the wave, and then they found that there was no interference patterns, proving that light is moving in the ether, in the field, the solar energy field, rather than we are moving. Easy to prove. So Lorenz and Fitzgerald, check it out, the Lorenz-Fitzgerald contraction, they came up with this to nullify or to try and cancel the Michelson-Morley experiment. They said that the steel parts of the machinery, which was shooting the light forth, which was going against the grain of the spin of the Earth, it contracted. So it shrunk in size. So parts of the machine shrank due to the violent, vicious spin of the Earth, proving that the Earth is showing that, yes, the Earth is still spinning because steel parts in experiments shrink. This is how evil these demons are. And you get these upside down, half-cocked, half-witted globies who are spinning and rotating and seed wasting all day long, and they'll quote that rubbish. And they think that Lorenz and Fitzgerald, like Einstein and Newton, are real scientists. Because they learned that.
One of their favorite terms is, what do they call it, renormalization? Yeah, that's a nice way of politically correct. Yeah, they renormalize everything.
Yeah, they renormalize because they have to bring people down to dumb level. So what people are doing is, because they give so much clout to all of these institutions, they stay with the herd mind, they stay with the crowd, and the scriptures warn you, the Bible says, do not follow the crowd. Do not follow the crowd. You've seen those sheep, the first sheep that goes off the cliff? And all the other bar sheepies go, oh, let's go where he's going. And they plunge themselves off the cliff to their death. And this is what will happen to the ones who cling to their beliefs and not the truth. Here we are being witch hunted, ridiculed, because we are seeking truth and not to be sitting on our belief laurels. And this is the state of planet dumb at the moment, guys. This is what we're living on. We're living in a cesspool of stupidity. Everywhere is stupidity, everywhere, where the demons have controlled the minds of idiots. And they are buying and selling and eating and drinking, and the flood came and swept them all away. Oh yeah, but they'll be laughing at the flat earthers for falling off the edge of the earth. Yeah, oh yeah. And they're not falling off the bottom of the Santa Bowl. Yeah. They have a good laugh at our expense. Oh yes, well, the flat earthers, they better be careful. They might fall off the edge of the earth one day. Well, this is the funny thing. There has never been a report of anyone to fall off the edge of the earth, for a start. And secondly, whoever you are saying that, you're upside down saying that. That's how stupid you are saying that. You're upside down, idiot, and you're falling off the bottom of the Santa Ball, you dunce. That's my reply. Because think about it. If gravity's a constant, or relatively constant, and you're at the equator at Ecuador, and I've been there. No, let's do it this way. Okay, so you're living in Alaska on the top of the Santa Ball, and gravity is holding you down. So then you go down to Tasmania or New Zealand or Chile at the bottom of the Santa Ball, and gravity does the same thing. All right, well, fair enough. Let's grant it that it may work. It may work if you're on a large body spinning and there is such a thing as gravity, but where's the differential? Surely, if you're standing on top, gravity must act a little bit differently than when you're standing on the bottom spinning. Surely, it cannot be so uniform that it is exactly the same at the North Pole as gravity as it is at the equator. I don't see people walking around with lead boots at the equator, and I don't see people flying off at the North Pole because of the angular motion, not the angular velocity, not the linear velocity up there is well, it's voided out, and therefore gravity, there's no centrifugal thrust like at the equator. Hence, you know, you must be just freaking sucked into the earth. It must be so hard to walk, you know, past the 80th parallel. You know, it must be just, or the 70th even. I mean, surely there must be some differential. No, the Globie will tell you that there's not.
There's not, yeah.
Yeah, oh, there's none. No, there's none. But gravity works.
Well, I was going to say.
Santos.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, you go for it, Karen. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, Santos, can you please just for a moment just look at some of Chris's work?
I have.
Yeah. I was gonna say I have actually calculated that. I think it was like 0.033% weight change at the equator due to the centrifugal spin, and so that would work out to like, you know, a third of a pound per 100 pounds, that type of thing, or a third of a kilogram per 100 kilograms. That would actually be the differential. Yeah, it's quite, then people say, well, that isn't very much, and I said, yeah, but consider the weight of all the oceans that are fluid. And as you know, as the ball spins, it's exponential growth in mass. So what happens to the water? Right. Yeah.
Oh, the water molecule expands as well, and it gets bigger and fatter.
Yeah, it doesn't travel towards the equator based on velocity at all. No. Yeah.
Yeah, the water's getting fatter. You see, the water's eating junk food, so it's obese at the moment, and it's growing with the Earth growing. Yeah. And Santa Claus is coming down the chimney on December the 25th, guys.
Coming down the chimney, yeah.
Well, Chris, if
I'll
you
do a
could,
screen share there and
explain,
just kind of.
so I was going to say, if you can explain maybe the gravity as a charge, would that be possible in a short time?
Yeah, it's exactly how Santos was best wife. You know, I've agreed. I agree with what Santos is saying. It's a different, like gravity. The 9.8 meters per second squared is just a derivative, which is just the differential between the dielectric field and the magnetic field. Like a dielectric field and the magnetic field, there's a differential that's a constant because it's biased towards the positive. So we're, you know, humans are pretty much walking dielectric fields. I mean, we're water and carbon, and calcium in our bones, and so it's actually, gravity is actually holding us up in that sense. It's the dielectric or diamagnetic forces that are actually holding us up in our skeletons. And then we feel the force in reverse is just a positive bias that's holding us down. And that's all it is. So, yeah, I agree with everything. Everything that Santos is saying makes 100% sense to me.
Yeah, well, I was wondering as well when Santos was talking about the dark discs or the other discs, if that could go along with maybe explaining some of this static discharge that goes on.
Yeah, well, all those discharges, they are when the two field modalities of dielectricity and magnetism move against each other, electrification occurs. Okay, this is how Ken Wheeler explains it, and it's the best way to explain it. They're just field modalities. Okay, there's rest and motion, Krishna and Radharani. That's all there is. That's all there ever was. The black light, the black cubes, that's Krishna. Krishna rests because Krishna is Christ, crest, rest. Resting light is black light. Moving light, motion, force, that's magnetic. Magnetism is the mother of the universe. That's Radharani, Mary, the Virgin, Mary Magdalene, Isis. She is the white light. Contrary to how people have put it. They see the yin and yang, the black yin and yang, and they say black is feminine and white is masculine. No, it's the other way around. The male energy is resting energy. Okay? It is dielectric black light. It is resting forever. And it is going into counter space. That's where the rest is. And magnetism, the consort of dielectricity, the other field modality, is its partner. Co-eternal, coexistent, conjugate, the principle of the universe. So we have principles and attributes. The attribute of light is illumination. So God is doing as well as being. And light is all about doing, the transverse wave. The transverse wave is stilled by the longitudinal wave of pulses and rarefactions. And those pulses and rarefactions, that's the true nature of the universe. It's spiritual. See, there's no particle wave duality universe. It's a pulse wave duality universe. The pulse is Adam, Adam, dum dum, dum dum. Listen to your heartbeat. Dum dum produces a wave, just like when you throw a pebble into a still pond. That's the pulse. The pulse drops into the water and you see concentric waves expanding outwards, expanding, and some of them are interference waves and etc. and cancelling waves, but they're always going outward, outward, outward. Those waves, that's Eve. The waves on the water, Eve. Look at the word wave. Take away the W, Ave. Ave Maria. That means the wave of maritime, the wave of marine. And the Spirit of God was working upon the waters, right? The first thing the Bible says in Genesis, first thing about creation, that God's Spirit was moving against the waters. Everything is waters, people. The sun is hydrogen, that's water. Okay, the moon is also hydrogen, that's water. Everything is waters, and the waters is marine. And Ave Maria is the wave, the transverse wave. And she is the partner of the pulse, Adam, dum dum, dum dum. So it's a pulse wave universe created by Adam and Eve. We're all Adamites because we all have atoms. Atom is Adam. And we have an anatomy. Okay? So, and so once we realize that the wave is what's deluding us, because in the wave is the time dilation, which causes a space and time bubble. Not in the longitudinal, that's the forever now. You don't have past and future there. Past and future are an illusion created by the space bubble. Think about it simply. When you have a tug of war on a rope, and one party of the tug of war suddenly jerks the rope toward them. Instantaneous reaction at a distance at the other end. And this is what scientists cannot explain, instantaneous reaction at a distance, because they're talking transverse waves. They are electrical materialists. They are not magnetic spiritualists. They know not of magnetism. They are hiding the pulse, the zero tachyon energy of Tesla, okay, the standing scalar wave. And so what happens is if you loosen that rope now in your tug of war, you loosen it, you slacken it off a bit, and one end decides to create a wave in the rope, now you have a different wave. There is wave amplitude, wave amplitude is created now, and not just wavelength. So when you look at a sine wave, you see wave amplitude, yeah, and wavelength. Okay, and depending on the amplitude depends on the energy contained in that packet of a pulse, right? If it's really sharp angle of that wave, well then it's high energy, see? But if it's a long red wave and the amplitude is low but the wavelength is long, it's a low capacitance energy. So it's all about different frequencies, different wavelengths, and they're all combining and field pressure mediating and self-conjugating as they go throughout the universe. It's orchestrated by the big Om in the heavens, the central sun of the universe, which is Krishna, which is saying Om continuously. Atom, all is atom. And so that main big solar central sun of the universe, which is the Lord of the universe, which is us, is creating these big waves, Ave Maria, with its pulses of rarefaction and compressions. And so that is now it is the bass tone of the universe, and then all of these harmonics and other tones are audible within that main subtone, and then they create their own patterns, and they are all orchestrated into various forms according to their seeds and blueprints in the transcendental realm. See, all atoms have their spiritual atomic counterpart in the transcendental counter space. And from there they manifest when the two field modalities are rubbing against each other and produce electrification. All is produced through electrification. Therefore, El, Emmanuel, Elohim, electricity, elite, elevated, and all of those L's become the god Baal, the false god. Because why? Because he's selling you a time-space bubble. He is playing with the original creator in the sense that he is making sound, and he's making a temporal illusion, because he knows that all temporal illusions, all universes are temporary. All matter is temporary, and it is back of it is a timeless, immortal realm of transcendence, which we can't see because we are bound by our senses. We are limited and conditioned by our senses. Yeah. So I don't know whether I answered that properly or I went right off on a tangent, but all those points there, they're all important for us to understand theology, okay? When you read the Bible, you're reading spiritual science. You know, you're reading natural science. You're learning religious science. Religious science is... Hey?
Do you believe it's a code?
Absolutely, it's encoded. It has to be. You can't write sacred books on a literal plane. Then they are not sacred. The reason they are sacred is because they have other meanings embedded in them. And as I've shown in all my presentations, those other meanings are sometimes biochemical, where everything in the Bible is in your body and it's chemistry. Jerusalem is your pineal gland, and you must go up to Jerusalem to be saved. You know, the baptism is in the heart chakra of John the Baptist. Sodom and Gomorrah are the bottom chakras of your body. So all the Holy Land is your body. Check out my presentation on my YouTube channel, Mr. Astrotheology, called Your Body is the Holy Land, and learn these things. And then go to another presentation, The Secret of Secrets, the Christ within, the elixir of life hiding in your body, and learn about the Christ that is a spiritual psychosomatic cerebrospinal function in your body, which when you perfect your nervous system and purify your blood, you raise the Christ or the oils of the cerebrum back up to the cerebrum, because they've departed from the cerebrum, and go down into the promised land with milk and honey, and down into the land of Canaan, right, to inherit the promised land. It's all in your body. So on one level, everything in the Bible is biochemical. On another level, it's a registry of astronomical phenomena. On another level, because there are 7 levels embedded in the Bible, and I've uncovered all of them. But you have to watch all my presentations, because I've scattered this information throughout there. I've never done a repeat in any of my presentations or any show I've ever done, ever. Why would I be so boring? You know, why would it be like the pseudoscientists like, Richard Hoagland and all these nutcases who, talk about one thing and the same thing repeated over all of their shows on, shill shows, stations like Coast to Coast, that are Jesuit owned. Why would I be that boring? And why would you listen to 5 minutes of Richard Hoagland talking bullshit about material objects on the moon? What a crock of shit. Yeah. Yeah. All of these Santa Claus believers are buying it, because they haven't actualized yet. They haven't spiritualized. That's their problem. They are still intelligent materialists. They're intelligent, but they have material intelligence, which Krishna, Christ, and all archetypes totally and utterly disrespect. And they will destroy that material intelligence. That material intelligence produces stupidity like Darwinian evolution, like the Jesuit, what's his name, Pierre, the Big Bang guy. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The Jesuits invented the Big Bang crock of shit. You've got gravity, hocus pocus. You've got the ball, the Copernican ball hypothesis, hocus pocus. And people are totally ready to swallow this crap. Relativity, you know, the theory of relativity, the general relativity and special relativity. All of those were Jesuit counter arguments to try and swindle the plebeian masses not to understand that science has proved that the Earth does not move. All science has proven it, time and time again, millions of times, endless of times, and they don't have one experiment. They can say, well, here's an experiment. We won't just say that they failed. We'll actually produce an experiment. Finally, after 500 years of inquisition, of murdering people who wanted to stay stationary and flat.
Eyes.
That's why the Inquisition happened, guys. Because of the nature of the cosmos. The demons had to change the nature of the cosmos to enslave us. Before that, we were free. And we were astrologers. And we were philosophers and alchemists. Now we're dumb.
Yeah.
Now we're a bunch of dumbasses.
Are you doing any courses and so forth in Australia on the basic self-sufficiency and growing and you know, natural gardening and using the dielectrics and that type of thing in the growing process?
Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to start, hopefully, we tried to start it a few years ago, but then this property was raided by a SWAT team and took me to prison for 7 weeks. And the guys who own the property, the Makunda, a beautiful man who I love very much, they put him in jail for 6 weeks as well, just for protecting me, and they smashed up his house. And we were ready to do retreats, 4 2-week retreats, one per season, back in 2016. So now we're aiming for the start of 2018. We're getting the property ready. We've got everything's ready for people to come and camp here. People can stay with me in my cottage. I've got 6 or 7 spare rooms in my beds in my cottage, and they've got heaps of big master bedroom suites up there at the top house, and we've got bunks to sleep in. And what we'll do is we're going to start what I call, let's see if I can remember. I coined this phrase when I was in prison, because I was thinking, what will I call the concept that I want to develop, which will be the perfect model for the world to advance in spirituality and truth and honor and glory and freedom. And I called it syncretism, off-the-grid permaculture. Hang on. Syncretism, off-the-grid permaculture, raw, no, not raw food necessarily. Raw food will be included, but vegan detox ashram. That's what we want to do. So we want to give syncretic science to people, which is religious science properly done. We want to give off-the-grid free energy modalities, permaculture. So off-the-grid permaculture, vegetarian detox lifestyles is what we're going to be teaching. We do detoxing. We do only organic, vegetarian. You don't have to be vegan. That's not necessary. Milk is good for you. Cow's milk, straight from the cow. As long as the cow is not being abused, as long as the cow has plenty of milk for her young ones, and the cow loves you and you love the cow, and the cows were given to us to give us these things. Some people may object to that because they say, oh, it's cow pus and it's only for the calves. But if you look into Vedic science, which is more ancient than these ideas, it shows that we can get our animal products and we can use them and they can help us and we can help them. We don't eat them and murder them. You don't murder animals and you don't partake in the eating of the dead corpses. This is not what a philosopher does. Sorry to preach this, but I'm trying to, encapsulate all that we stand for. We stand for only the good things and the real things that were once stood by. Once upon a time in Europe, we had Neoplatonic academies, and then Justinian in 527 shut down the academies by edict and papal bull, political edict. And so Justinian, the creator of dog Latin, and his wife, who removed the concept of reincarnation from the Bible, they started this movement of enslaving mankind. And how they did that was they introduced Aristotle's buffoonery of material science, and they removed Plato and Pythagoras's and the Neoplatonists' true wisdom of spiritual science. And that's how come we're a bunch of dumbasses today, because of Justinian. And 200 years prior to him, Constantine, who started the materialist, literal, Jesus historical version. There is no place in the Bible where you'll find mundane facts. You will find only transcendental truth, you see. And that is how Christ and Jesus are our saviors, because as the Apostle Paul says in Colossians 1:26-27, the sacred secret was hidden from the ancients, which I will reveal to you, which is the Christ within. Christ was not Paul was not a literalist. That's why I hate the Apostle Paul, Apollo, Saturn. That's who Paul is. It's Saturn. And Peter, the Apostle Peter, supposedly he was a literalist, whereas the Apostle Paul was a esoterist and a non-literalist. Peter is Jupiter. So we have this same archetypal, polarity, Saturn and Jupiter. Hence, you've got the Jews. One branch is Elohistic, Saturn, and the other one is Jehoistic or Jehovahistic. Jehoistic is Jupiter. Okay, so there's always underlying in all of the religions, whether it be Judaism, Hinduism, there is always this archetypal enemy of war against Paul and Peter. You rob Peter to pay Paul. This is Jupiter and Saturn. Saturn is Apollo. Apollo is Paul. And it's easy to work out these things, guys. There's nothing literal, nothing mundane, except by indirect value, or as a way of making the scriptures appropriate to the time. And how they did that was the original JC, Julius Caesar, became Jesus Christ, gave us a calendar, the Julio calendar, which is Anno Domini. Okay, and so if you're looking for the Lord, the literal Lord of Anno Domini, it's not Jesus. Okay, there's no Jesus in history. Sorry, and I don't want to argue it. Just you need to watch my presentations and read some real books, not the books who try to tell you that the Christ the Savior came and is coming. Right? Because it's all Christ consciousness. It's not literal. It's not mundane history. It's a mythological, true, marvelously supercharged, true document. And the Christ that came is the Jesus, Jupiter Zeus, Jesus of the Piscean age. It brought a new consciousness to mankind, a consciousness of the meaning of Pisces, which is service to others. Religion, belief. And that was the administration of the last couple of 1,000 years. Now, the age of Aquarius brings a new Christ, a higher one. Saturn is higher than Jupiter in position and status. Hence, we're in the Saturnian Aquarian age. And now this is a time of That's the Christ that has returned, and his daddy Uranus, both rulers of Aquarius. That's why Jesus said, when my kingdom comes, I will sit down on the right side of the throne of God and reign in the kingdom. This is talking about Saturn and Uranus in Aquarius and the Christ consciousness that comes with it. So the Romans, they reduced, it's called reductionism, the archetypes to a literal plane, and made a whole bunch of church-going dunces, waiting for Christ to return and killing, you know, Jehovah's Witness killing Catholic, Catholic killing Mormon, Mormon killing Seventh-day Adventist, because their Jesus is a different Jesus than the one they preach. They're murderers. They're not Christians. Christianity is a spiritual science. It's not literal. It's not mundane at all whatsoever. Now we have to stop smoking that joint.
That's the way to put it. Spoke of that one, yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that's the astrotheology that's in the Bible. The Bible is archetypal. It is transcendentally true. It's not literally fact. There's no fact in there except by redaction, which is what the Augustine Empire did. They redacted the scriptures and put in certain facts, like, for instance, Caesar Augustus decreed that all should be go and be censored. They should. He did a censorship. They're one of the first ones in history. Well, that was post-redaction. That was to make Rome connected with God and a savior, a literal savior. Then, when the Julio-Claudian dynasty was destroyed by Vespasian, who killed Vitellius, and then started the Flavian dynasty in the year 69, when his son Titus destroyed Jerusalem, to destroy the beautiful Jesus tradition that was going on in the Middle East and in Jerusalem. You see, the Jesus that they killed was the school, the esoteric school that was churning out Jesuses. Because when you are initiated in that school, you get a new name. You're not called, you know, Bruce, Tom, Dick, and Harry anymore. You are called Jesus the Christ, because you have christened yourself. You have been christened with higher consciousness. You are now initiated, and they killed. Titus destroyed that school. He did not kill, you know, a burgeoning, budding, you know, new Christian religion, because Christianity has been around since the dawn of time. The Egyptians will tell you that. The Hindus will tell you that with their version Krishna and his 12 disciples, and 12 this and 12 that, and everything 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. It's all the same story, guys. The Egyptians had Crestus thousands of years before the Romans.
Chris?
I've also noticed too, I was just in Revelation 2, a lot of references to the moon cycles, right down to the numbers, like where the woman goes into the wilderness to prepare a place for God for 1260 days, which is echo of the eclipses, where it kind of, and then obviously Michael goes to war with the sun and all, you know, the angels and everything. But it's there's a lot of code in there that applies to actual astronomy, right down to the arc second of light measured in nautical miles at 144,000 nautical miles per hour. It's the 12 tribes in white robes and that come out of the light and everything. Have you looked into any of that in detail, Santos?
I've done that. I've done all of that in my presentations. I've absolutely uncovered what the Bible is about, better than has ever been done in the history of the universe. Why? Because I read Gerald Massey. You know, I read Alvin Boyd Kuhn. I read Philo, you know, Judaeus. I read all of these esoteric masters. I read all of them. And I uncovered the true story of all of our Bibles, all of them. There's one theme, and it's all the same thing. Every time you hear of a Christ or a Krishna or a Crestus, it is the sun. It is the moon, and it is Saturn primarily. The sun is magnetic, the moon is dielectric, Saturn is electric. That is the Jesuits' IHS, Isis, Horus, and Set. Isis is the moon, Horus is the sun, Horus, hour, the one who makes the hours, his 12 disciples. Disciples, apostles. Why? Because a post is a sign of the zodiac. They are called posts. So, of course, Jesus has 12 apostles, not 13, not 12 and a half, not 11 or 10 and a half. It's 12. It's always 12 because it's the ecliptic. Nothing literal, guys. It's all spiritual science. But at the same time, those who are Christians in the chat love Jesus, love Christ. Those who are Hindus listening love Krishna. Those who are Muslims love Allah, because it's all the same thing. There's no difference. Absolutely none at all. Not a shred. It's all the same. It's all spiritual, natural, religious science, and it's all talking about the same archetypes. Whenever you hear of Hercules or Achilles or Paris or Athena or Apollo or Mercury, it's all the sun. Everything goes back to the sun. The sun is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. All nursery rhymes.
Santos,
Yep.
we live in a spiritual realm.
Yeah,
That's what we're saying.
Yes. And so if you want to understand your cosmologies, you think hard. All right. There's always a hero with 7 or 12. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Snow White is the sun. The sun is a condensed rainbow. When the rainbow manifests, those are the dwarves that help the sun, the 7 refracted colors of the rainbow. Noah in his arch boat with his rainbow, because Noah is the sun, and the 7 people in his ark are the 7 colors of the rainbow, and hence they make 8. The octave of sound. It's all sound, guys. It's, and all of those archetypes, all of them, they are all the sun. Simple. And his twin brother Saturn, the white sun and the black sun. And if you don't uncover this, well, fair enough, but it's the ultimate truth. That is the truth. It's all astrotheology. In the Bible is embedded with astrology, astronomy, and all sciences, alchemy, biochemistry, philosophy, much more wisdom than the average person has ever fathomed. And you will only ever fully understand it if you watch my presentations, but not just 1 or 2 and think you know everything, because all of the precious wisdom that I uncovered from many books are scattered throughout all the presentations in Cyberland now. I don't even know where half of them are, but I've covered everything. There is no excuse for anyone to have watched even 5 minutes of my presentations to see the evidence and the proof that it is all spiritual science, and none of it is literal. None of it happened on a mundane plane. In fact, let me read you something.
And to explain, Santos, it's not just, you can't just say, oh, flat earth, that's the answer. One feed leads on to another, and everything's connected, and it's vibrations, and it's frequencies, and it's magnetic fields, and it's everything like this. It goes on and on and on.
Yes. And as you can get from milk, many products, cheese, curds and whey, ice cream, cream, yogurt, butter, ghee. So Krishna expands in his many forms. What is Krishna? Krishna is the central sun of the universe. It's always the sun. And that sun is back of our sun. Our sun is only a projection in the sky, just like the rainbow is. There are no Cartesian coordinates for the sun. There's no way to triangulate the distance of the sun. Forget it. Okay? Because it appears sometimes only a couple hundred miles up, sometimes a few thousand. But it's a projection. And the dome and firmament above us, which are 2 separate things, the firmament is below the dome or the vault of the heavens in a rectangular structure that is surrounding our earth. It's rectangular, okay, twice the length of its width. That is the structure, and it's a vaulted dome, and the firmament is a flat firmament below that, and that's where all the stars. And it says in Genesis, on the second day, God created the firmament and put therein the stars and the moon and the sun. And so this I forgot the point I was making. What was that you said there before, brother?
Chris?
Oh,
Anyway.
we were talking about the 1290 or 1260 days of the moon and the cycles in the astronomy and astrology in the Bible. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I was going to say. Okay. The reason why, if you read Gabrielle Henriette's Heaven and Earth, you'll find that she discovered that through ancient sources that the firmament is closer to the Earth at the equator. Okay, this is why there's desert regions there and there's more heat there. There is a closeness. So this is a variable height thing going on, right, with the orbs that we see in the heavens. So the sun is actually producing all the effects on the Earth. Yeah, it's the life giver. It's the vital center. That's why it's the savior, and it's always been called the savior. And that's why he's the coming one, because the sun returns yearly, brings the summer and the foods. This is the god Bacchus, the god Dionysus, who brings us wine. You see, and this is why Leonardo da Vinci depicted Jesus correctly at the middle of the table of the Last Supper. And to his right, he's got two seasons: spring, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, grouped together. And then the next group is Cancer, Leo, Virgo. And then he's in the middle with his arms widespread. Why is that the Last Supper? Because on September the 21st, when the sun is on the middle of the ecliptic, the sun, Jesus, in the middle of the table, and to his left you see a green Libra with her arms outstretched. Well, that's indicating that that's the scales of Libra. Yeah. And then when you go to the third disciple seated on the table from your left, when you view it, you'll see that it's Gemini, and he's got his two hands in front of his face, showing you that it's astrological and that Leonardo knew what was embedded in the scriptures. So what is on the table? Bread and wine. Well, yeah, in September, Virgo, you have the bread season, yeah? And then in September, in Libra, the next month, you've got the wine season, yeah? All right, so when the sun starts off his journey on March the 21st every year, in Aries, 0 degrees Aries, he's the Lamb of God. And now he is watering, he's Bacchus, okay? So Bacchus is the god of wine. See, wine is the symbol of the perfected food, drink rather, because you have to plant the seed, harvest the grapes, you have to press the grapes, you have to wait for it to ferment, you have to put it in bottles, you stick them in your cellar at even temperature, and then after a year or two, you take out the wine. Okay? The bread is the same. You have to grow the wheat, you have to water it, and then the virgins go out in Virgo and harvest that wheat, then they bring it into the mill, grind it, then they make it, add water and flour and everything like that, and then they make the bread, put it in the oven, and then the bread. And so there is the sun with his arms outstretched saying, this is the Last Supper. Why? Because after 21st of September comes the winter. No food. You have to go into hunting mode. Hence, the September moon is called the hunter's moon, and the full moon prior to that is called the harvest moon in Virgo. So in Virgo, the full moon is the harvest moon, because there is Jesus at the Last Supper saying, eat now, guys, because hunting comes next. This is the Last Supper. This is the spring and summer concluded. And here I am, Jesus the Lord. You'll see him there. He's got red and blue. He's dressed in red and blue, isn't he? Well, that's the red and blue of redshift, blue shift of electricity, of the transverse wave. And you can see the disciples. To the far left, you got Aries at the head of the table. Then Taurus, then Gemini with his arms out, in front. Why would he be doing that? Because he's Gemini. And why would Cancer have a knife in his hand and pointing to the throat of Virgo? You don't have an Adam's apple, Virgo. I'm exposing you, and I've got a knife in my hand like all crabs do. And there's Leo in the middle of them with his elbow on the table, the proud lion, who's showing that he is the ruler animal, the only savage beast of the ecliptic. And he only has the arrogance to be rude enough to put his elbow on the table. And then to the left of Jesus, you see Libra. Yeah? Well, that's it. There's the true story in the Bible. Leonardo da Vinci was only helping us. He was our beautiful Renaissance friend. He was a transcendentalist. But anyway, let me read this for you out of the book called Jaiva Dharma, which is a Vedic book, and about the literalisms and the people who get swindled by the literalisms in their scriptures because they haven't got a clue how to read them. Sri Krishna takes birth, performs activities, and gives up his body. So how can his form be eternal? Lahiri Masahaya asked. Sri Krishna's form is Satchitananda, ever existing, full of knowledge and completely blissful, Babaji replied. His birth, activities, and giving up of the body have no connection with mundane matter. Then why have such descriptions been given in Mahabharata and other scriptures? Babaji answered, the eternal truth defies description, for it is beyond words. The pure soul, in his spiritual aspect, sees the transcendental form and pastimes of Sri Krishna. Just put Christ in there too. Same thing. When he describes that supreme reality with words, through words, it appears just like worldly, mundane history. Those who are capable of extracting the essence from scriptures like the Mahabharata experience Krishna's pastime in a specific way. However, when people of mundane intelligence hear these descriptions, they interpret them in different ways. Okay? So I don't disrespect people who want a literal Jesus at all. Let them have that, because that's where they're at, and they are good people. And churchgoers who are Christians, I love them. They're all good people, but they have been misled. The Christ they're looking for, who will return, is the Christ consciousness. And unless we get tuned to that Christ consciousness, we will perish in damnation as useful idiots. All is transcendental.
Can I just say I read a book a medium had written it. It's called The Winds of Change. And in it, the medium said, if Jesus came, he came to teach us to be more like him. So that's the same thing, really, as what you're saying. Even if he hasn't come, but the whole point about Christ.
Yeah, well, they're right in what they said. He did come to teach philosophy and wisdom and spiritual goodness, because there have been many Jesuses, people, many. I have stood on the grave of Isikiri in Japan. My wife comes from the main island right at the north in a town called Hachinohe. If you travel 40 miles from that, which I did in 2008, I stood on the grave of the third grave, because there's one in Jerusalem, supposedly there's there's one in Kashmir, and then there's this one in Japan, and they call him Isikiri. Why would they call him Isos Christos like the Greeks call him? Why? Why in Japan would there be a grave to, and they believe that he literally died there, because these were ascended masters. These were ones who thoroughly were beautiful people with great spiritual wisdom, and they became a Jesus and a Christ. And they are in history, and you will find them. And all these people have visions of those Christs. They are right. They are correct. But it is not a literal, linear, mundane description of Christ. If you read the Gospels, you're not reading any kind of literal history. You are reading transcendental truth that happens on the ecliptic and in your body, period. Only real proper knowledge will help you to see that. Christ is the Savior. I am a Christian, and I love Jesus, and I love Jesus' words, and I'm the foremost preacher of those words. I live by those words. I always have, and I never will depart from the Christ. Never. Because it is the true salvation. Atheism is death. It is death. it is demonic, and you will perish. You will perish in atheism. And that perish is not an eternal thing. There's always right ways for the good people who perish in hell to be saved from hell. We're in hell at the moment because on this plane has been introduced three conditions: paradise, purgatory, and hell. And it's up to you to choose which one you want to be in.
Thank you, Santos.
I was wondering, Santos, what your thoughts were on the coming solar maunder, solar minimum that's coming up here, and it's related to this eclipse that we see as a timing. Have you looked at it, any of the theories that we may be, in fact, moving into a rapid cooling cycle or an ice age coming, like a mini ice age with the solar maunder again?
Look, that's
in relation to the sun and the Bible and the all the numbers that are there kind of predict it, right?
Yeah, the reason why the sun is playing up like that is because obviously light is energy, is information, yeah? So the information that is coming from this portal, the sun, which Eric Dollard says is a transformer from primary energy to secondary energy, okay, dielectricity into electricity via magnetism, is the information, the DNA information coming through is of a higher vibration. Okay, so the sun is illuminating our minds, and by the same token, that illumination is blinding the minds of the unbelievers, the pseudoscientists. And so that information comes with these solar flares, maximums and minimums, and all of these cycles and epicycles that these scientists are clinging on to give us fear and anxiety about these, changes in the cosmos. Changes will always be, always. As we have different seasons through the year, so the sun is bringing us different seasons every 25,000 years in this precessional cycle, which exists but has never been explained properly by the materialists, this cycle of precession. What it is, in fact, is the differential between the sun's 360 days, 65 days of rotating, as opposed to the firmament's 360 days rotating. There is a differential there, and hence it's causing what they call precession of the equinoxes. See, these are things that need to be explained properly. Where half-cocked globies immediately use things like that in favor of their argument, because they think precession of the equinoxes is a globe thing and connected to globe. No, it can't even work. It's impossible with their model. None of their model works at all whatsoever, nowhere, anywhere. Okay, it can only be explained on a flat plane. Simple. The firmament is turning, and it is the movement of it is slower than the sun's. Period. And so that differential is causing this so-called backward precession of the equinoxes, and that will bring you solar minimums and maximums that we don't understand yet. We don't know what they're connected to. We don't know what they're related to, because there are cycles that we still are not allowed to notice because the information has been hoarded and kept from us.
Maybe if I could share screen there for a second, I wanted to show Santos a chart there just to possibly. There, can we see that? There,
sorry, guys. I've been very, very emphatic. Just thinking back on, this morning, those shields really pissed me off. I'm sorry. This is why sometimes I, don't want to join Hangouts, because I'm not in the mood. I'm just not in the mood. I just can't stand stupidity. Can't stand it.
Santos, it's okay. I think anybody listening in here will hear that you are an extremely alive man.
Yeah, leave it at that. Don't use any other descriptive language because I deserve it. But the point is, you know, I would rather be able to, and I should be able to just forget these shill idiots. They get to me somehow. I don't know how. I've got to discover the mechanism and, you know, cancel them out totally because they're insignificant. They're faceless.
It's a waste of time, isn't it?
It's a waste of my time, man. How much time I've wasted. I could have had much more syncretism released to the world if I didn't worry about these idiots who... Yeah.
Well, Santos, you're getting lots of love from the chat anyway.
Yeah, the chat say, we love you, Santos.
Yeah, don't let them steal your passion, that's for sure. I just wanted to share a chart there with Santos and get your opinion on it, if I could, there for a minute. I was going to show you something. Something I've been looking at here. Can we see, is it sharing there now?
I can see it.
Yeah, what with the bird? Yeah.
Just where Santos was talking about the sun and how everything is tying into the sun. And we know that the mainstream is they're trying to sell everybody on the global warming as their new carbon tax and, you know, more and more debt upon the slave and everything. But I've been looking at it, and we know that essentially everything's always in reverse with these guys. But the actual data, when you look at it, is pointing at the 400-year cycle, the Maunder minimum that we went through in the 1600s and through the Renaissance era and through all that time. And I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on whether or not you think that we're headed back towards this rapid cooling cycle for the next about 120 years, and if possibly you think, you know, that could be part of what all this preparation is about and all the pressure being put on societies and where they seem to be leading towards conflict, etc. Just your thoughts on that, if you could.
Chris, also you said you thought also that the reason the chemtrails are up in the air is to warm us up.
Well, everything's in reverse, right? They're messing with it, trying to heat it up. That's what HAARP actually does. It sends microwaves up there and actually heats the ionosphere, right? So they're trying to mess with that and the geoengineering, and they're trying to mess with the weather to warm it up. But they're telling you that it's actually, you know, they say, oh, it's getting global warming, but it's actually global cooling. They're trying to actually warm it up. They're trying to mess with it. Everything points in the reverse. Like all the data I've looked at, it says that we're headed for a cooling.
Yeah. Definitely it's been cooling, guys. Definitely. And they are the ones who've created the heat because they know how to excite the particles in the air. They know how to excite the atmosphere because they control the information and they've got the ancient information. And this is the trick they're pulling on us. They know that eclipses can only be calculated on a flat stationary Earth, and that's how they are calculated. They know this, but they tell the public whom they teach in their institutions that it's since Copernicus and globalism that we've been able to predict eclipses. No. The Mayans could do it for thousands of years on a stationary flat Earth, and so could the Italians and the Greeks and the English and all of the ancient peoples, because that's what they did. In fact, Copernicus revolutionized a swindle on mankind. That's all he did. He's a swindler, and Newton and all of these Jesuit paid demon worshippers. They were all funded by the Jesuits. Okay, how's this? If you want me to do a presentation, I'll get my whiteboard out next time we do a hangout, and I will show you every single family who is behind globalism. I will expose them proper for the first time in history. Would you like that?
Yes, please, Santos.
Okay, it'll be a 2-hour, possibly 3-hour presentation. I'll try to get on earlier, okay? And I will absolutely expose these families, okay? I'm going after the Farnese, Orsini, and Borgia families, #1, because those 3 families, they are the conquistador families, okay? And the, Cristobal Colon. Interesting how Columbus's real name is Colon. Do you know about the Colonna family, the papal bloodline of Rome? Okay, so whenever you hear of Columbia, British Columbia, District of Columbia, the country in South America called Colombia, it's owned by the Colon family, Cristobal Colon. That's his real. Columbus is actually a Colon, and the Colonna family were bloodshedding and fighting against the Orsini family, and these morphed into the Ghibellines and the Guelphs. We know that the Ghibellines were also fighting. Well, that's the Colonna and Orsini family. Okay, Tom Cruise is an Orsini. The Windsor family are Orsinis. The Rothschilds are Orsini. Orsini means red bear, little bear, and the bear is red. And Orsini is an anagram of Rossini. Rosso is red. So the Rothschilds are the children, the shield of the red. You'll see the Orsini's papal insignia. What's the coat of arms? Is a red rose cross, upside down, pentagram. Anyone, all of these Red Cross, Red Shield, all of these organizations that have red in them, they belong to the most powerful family in existence, the Orsini. Okay, and they are the Rothschilds, the Windsors. Tom Cruise is an Orsini. These families, they carved up the Americas. They are conquistador families. They set up plantations and they own them to this day. And they are the ones who, shortly after 1492, they are the ones who set up the globe, the Jesuits. Immediately they set up, because people were crossing the Atlantic and coming back saying, oh yeah, it's beautiful and flat, and everything's flat and it's beautiful. Hey, yeah, it's we can see it with our eyes. You know, so they had to stop that. And so by Copernicus dedicated his book to a Farnese, okay, Alessandro Farnese, Pope Paul III. He founded the Jesuits with the Borgia family, and the Borgia family is the ones who carved up the Americas. Okay, Alexander III signed a treaty, Tordesillas, in 1493 with Columbus, the Colon family. These are the conquistador families of globalism. I'm going to expose them so their balls will be exposed for all to see.
Wasn't the Rothschilds, was it Simon Wolf Oppenheimer or something to that effect? His middle name was Wolf, and then the Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf was a nursery rhyme that was kind of centered around that family as well, where the Little Red Riding Hood represented the queen that was sort of a plant in the royal family or something to that effect.
Oh yeah, if you want to know how they've inserted all their family members into all the artwork of history, all the monuments that you go and see in Rome and London, if you want to see how they've insinuated themselves into all of our books and everything, go to a YouTube video by Anonymous, and where they've exposed the Orsini family and the Farnese family. 2 videos, 2 20-minute videos by Anonymous, exposing the Farneses and the Orsinis. Now, they are the 2 most powerful families. I'll just give you an example. Pepe Orsini is the Grey Pope. He pulls the strings of the Black Pope, Adolphus Nicholas, and Calvin Bach, and the new one now. And he pulls the strings of the White Pope, Bergoglio Francis, right? Farnese, King Juan Carlos of Spain is a Farnese. Spain has always been ruled by the Farneses family, who go way back to Farsi Persia and the Persian Empire, who were always headed westward to conquer Rome, to conquer with their Mithraic teaching. Rome was Mithraic before Constantine, hence it was Persian. The Persians set up the Etruscan Empire and the Roman Empire so that they could launch themselves from Spain, France, England, and Holland to conquer the newfound lands which they knew were there, which were, you know, overrun by, you know, silly people who demon worshippers. So we can go and kill them. It's okay. Christ will let us. They're just dumbasses. They got no idea of the globe Earth. They're flat and stationary, hence they're stupid. Let's kill them. And this was all done by these 3 families. And how powerful is Juan Carlos of Spain today? Well, you'll see him in photos with George Bush. You'll see him with the Pope. You'll see him everywhere. He's everywhere. Why? Because he's the king of the world. The true king of the world is a Farnese, and he's called the Roman monarch of the world. and he is also the military navigator of the Knights of Malta, hence the boss of the Knights of Malta, and he's also the King of Jerusalem. And Orsini is the Great Pope. So if you want to know where globalism comes from, who's hiding behind the green screen, you've got it. And you're going to get it on steroids when we do another hangout.
Sounds good to us, Santos.
Sounds like a great,
I can't wait for
hangout.
that one.
Yeah.
Tell
Yep.
us a date late in a bit, Santos.
Whenever you invite me, I'll just hop on.
Santos, you're always invited. You know.
Yep, I'm minus a few teeth right now because I've had 2 extracted in the last month due to root canal and dentist work that I did in the 90s. And I've had infections, according to my dentist, since the late 90s and cracked roots. And so he said that I could have died 3 times. 2 years ago, he extracted 2 that were root canals. So he's done 4 in 2 years since I've moved up to Queensland, and they were all due to infections of root canals. Do not trust dentists, okay? All my good teeth, they weren't touched by dentists. That's how you get to keep your teeth. Stay away from dentists.
The root canal was a big scam in the 90s, unfortunately, and people are paying for it now. I mean, it's the same with metal fillings as well, because they contract and what's the other word? The opposite to contract, when it gets hot and cold, so that they actually like fracture your teeth and stuff. So yeah, it's bad news to dentists, definitely.
It is.
In 1913, dentists did actually a research in connecting what connected cancer patients for 97% to root canal treatment.
Yep. When I started, when I lost 10 kilos in 2010, for 7 years, I've been 10 kilos underweight. That's a lot for a man who's only like 65 kilos, right? I went down to 55 kilos, and you can see it in every one of my presentations. I always suspected that the toxicity that I was suffering was due to my teeth, okay? But being vain, I wanted to keep my teeth. So when I smile, I got a good, nice smile, right? So I had to lose the vanity by force. My dentist told me that I've been toxic for years, and he said I could have died 3 times. The last one he pulled, he had to clean so much abscess shit that I had around my gum that he said, he doesn't know how I didn't die of a heart attack. And he said that last month when I did the other tooth, and he said that 2 years ago when I did the first 2 teeth with him.
Yeah. How strong is the body?
Yeah, and it generates cancer. It does. All these kids who are committing suicide, just go and check their dental records, and you'll see the cause for the suicides, depression, hatred, violence, everything, all of it. It's all dental work. Trust me. Don't trust dentists. Don't trust professionals. The scriptures always tell us that. Do not put your trust in man, who one day is alive like the grass, and the next day he's in the tomb. Do not trust these idiots. Yeah, we can trust each other. I trust you guys with all my heart. I will die for you guys because you are my people. Yeah, but I will not trust a professional. You trust a banker, a lawyer, a dentist? Well, you're an idiot. You trust those idiots? You're an idiot. And I was an idiot. I went and spent so much money on root canals. I've still got a few in.
Yeah.
They did something in the 80s, like Santos, because for people like us as well, they were drilling all your teeth out and putting fillings in, making money. But now all of us have got like just fillings.
Yeah.
There was no need to do all these fillings.
Yeah. Yep. It's evil.
So they did root canals on you. So you never needed them in the first place, and they did it to you.
Yes.
It was all about making money, the dentists making money.
I could have treated those infections that I had without pulling out the nerves and having root canal treatment. I could have done it with garlic, peppermint oil, clove oil, and mustard seed oil, and you just mix those together every morning, and you just swish those little clumps of garlic around. It kind of hurts. It sometimes it stings, but you will have the best oral hygiene. You will smash infections. Garlic, next to any infection, no matter how swollen, will reduce it within 5 minutes. Garlic is the king. Garlic absolutely smashes any kind of
I think I know
infection.
what that is, Santos. Is it like a few years ago I learnt that in the olden days doctors used to put bits of onions in the corners of the houses because onion, like once you peel an onion and open it up, it attracts every germ possible. So what people think is when they have food poisoning, oh, it was that meat or that fish. It wasn't. It was probably the onion.
Yeah,
The
onion and garlic.
And so
Onion
that
and
would
garlic.
draw all...
Sorry, you go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you go, Santos. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just thought you finished. I'm sorry. Onion and garlic are so good for you, but not to ingest, guys. You don't eat garlic and onion. They inflame the mind and agitate the mind. You cannot be a philosopher and meditate and chant and grow spiritually eating those two things. But learn how to use them. Have them. I always have them in my house. Garlic and onion. If you put a slice of onion in your socks when you go to bed at the bottom of the sole of your heel, you will detox. You'll see all the shit that comes out of your body. Just a slice of, that's how you use garlic and onion. Not in the modalities where you cook with it and everything like that. You can cook with it from time to time, right? Yeah, I would probably go once a month or something like that, have a big garlic freaking purge. But daily, you will be agitated in the mind, and you will be the Vedic science says you will be an imbecile. You will be a mental imbecile if you have too much garlic in your diet. How's that?
I liked garlic. I liked garlic.
Yeah, but you can still have it. You see, you can still have it when you're infected, and when you have infections, like antibiotics, use it like that. But not daily. You can substitute it with asafoetida. I use the Vedic asafoetida. It tastes just like garlic, but it's vegan and vegetarian, and it doesn't excite the mind and make your thinking very agitated.
It's
and same with mushrooms, guys. Mushrooms have the same effect.
Can I just change the subject one moment, Santos? Somebody in the chat room, Marilyn, asked earlier on. She just wanted to know this, Santos. Where does the word corruption come from?
Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it?
Because of the words, you know how you link all the words. So where does that one come from?
Oh, okay. So it means with, okay? So cooperate and coordinate. And a rupture would be the root of rupt. And so with rupture or with, cracks or deterioration, pretty much like the word sincere. Sear is wax and sin means without. So someone that is sincere is like a marble statue that hasn't been, the cracks haven't been plugged with wax. So in the Roman days, they had two shop fronts, one with sincere marble sculptors and the other ones with wax. So you pay less for the ones that, were plugged up with wax that looked just like marble, but they weren't sincere. They weren't without wax. So it's a similar word. Corrupt.
With wax.
With rupture, with breakages, with cracks. So I like that word sincere every time because my mother's maiden name is Cherminara, which is basically just another way of saying of Israel. It's a Jewish name. Not that she's Jewish, but her name was Cher, C-E-R, which means is the root of sincere, C-E-R-E, and Minara is menorah, okay? So the wax of the menorah, the candles on the menorah, the Jewish menorah, Cher Minara, okay? My mother's maiden name. And that's the same cheddar, wax, ceres. So when you say ceres means wax, okay? And that's why it brings cereals and cerealia and Ceres, the goddess of cereals, because the cereal is a wax. The chrism, the oil of the cerebrospinal system, which is the Christ, is also known as a wax. It's also known as fish, bread, oil. It has many names. In the Bible, this oil, this Christ within has many names. The bread of life, the salt of life, the salvation of life, the oil. Christ is also oil. Why? Because it's all this wax. So sincere without wax is what we want to be. We want to be whole, no cracks in our worship and our devotion to the Lord. Be it Christ. It doesn't matter. There is, in astrotheology, and especially my work, there is no condemnation of people, no matter how they see Jesus. That's fine. It's beautiful. I love people talking about God and Jesus. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's beautiful because these people are good people. They're spiritual. They're thinking spiritually. And this is what we must be including in our work. We must invite the Creator and give him the glory for all this beautiful sonoluminescent creation that he has provided for us and feeds us daily. Every day we eat beautiful food. This is the God of wine and bread. There he is in Leonardo's Last Supper. That's Jesus. Jesus is everywhere, not in one place in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. Not. It's everywhere all the time. Ever present, not coming and going and, just wait, he'll be coming. He said he's going to return. He's just sitting, doing nothing, twiddling his things, watching the pedophiles rape the little boys and eat their blood. And he's just, but he'll come. He'll fix that. He's coming. No, he's got to come in us. We have to invite the Christ. We have to bring Christ and return Christ to us. And we have to awaken and actualize and activate the Christ.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yeah. Become the temple of the living. Exactly. Yeah.
The living Christ.
Santos, I've got another question from the chat room. Mary asks, do you think Neptune and Pluto are even there? I think NASA, and we should keep them out of astrology. Taking away traditional rulers is whack.
Good question, because this goes at the heart of astrology, where in the East they do not even consider Neptune, Pluto and Uranus, but in the West we have included them. Yes, they are there, but they are not planets. Okay, none of them are planets. They are sonoluminescent bodies, but there's a big difference between Uranus, the firmament, and the ruler of the starry firmament, because Uranus means heavens, uranos in Greek. Neptune means waters, Poseidon, who rules the waters above the firmament. There are waters above and waters below. Neptune is the watery psychic ruler of that sphere. It's not a sphere as a ball, it's a sphere as in a sphere of influence, a sphere. They are spheres in that sense. And Pluto is the primum mobile. In other words, it's the outer shell, what we would probably call the Kuiper belt, or the outer body, the dome, the vault of heaven, the outermost part of this construct, which is a cube or a rectangle bounding a sphere, which is also intersected by the plane of the earth. And so they are, and they do bear influence astrologically, energetically. Yes, they do. And they are there, but they're not there in the sense that, like the moon, we discussed at the start of this hangout. The moon is invisible when she's conjunct the sun. Why? How can that be? How can the sun, 93 million miles away, make the moon invisible at the new moon? Why isn't this written about in every newspaper, every book, and every school? We talk about this. How come you can't frickin' see the moon on the new moon? People are just scratching their asses and they're going, yeah, the moon's rock in space and it's closer to us and it's right now is the new moon. Oh, but you can't see it.
We've always asked that one. We've always asked it, but as you get more we've always asked it, I think, Santos. Just the more you get into it, you realise how stupid some of it is. You just like you're still looking at it and you still don't see it, and then you see it.
Gotcha.
It's so deep.
Yeah. So these are the things that people don't penetrate. I understood this immediately when I first became flat earther around about 2014. Okay, and I came out in early 2015. Okay, and I understood immediately because I'm an astrologer. I understood everything about the flat earth instantly, like in a vision. I understood that planets are invisible when they come near the sun because astrology teaches you that. And I know I've done the charts of thousands of people and I've seen their new moon sun and I realize what that means. Their moon is overclouded. You know, they are ruled, possibly they're ruled by, you know, someone more important because the sun has been blocked out, right? So therefore, you know, part of their nature is being controlled. Part of their nature is being ruled over. You see, you can understand how the ecliptic, which is energy, affects the individual that is born under those dynamics. That's all astrology is. It's interpreting information. It's interpreting energy and seeing how...
Santos, another question's come through. Artist wanted to ask you if you know about, oh my goodness, I hope I'm going to say this right, propolis, Propolis.
T-O-R...
No, P-R-O... No, Propolis.
The bees,
Propolis.
the bee,
Yeah, the big
bees,
stuff.
yeah, for sure. I've taken it many times. Love it. It's good for you. Very good for you. It's got energy. It's got pure energy, because the sun is granting to all forms a dielectric core. Core is a word for heart. So your core, your heart, is your dielectric center in your body, and all foods and things that we eat have this, and so we are consuming that dielectric energy, all right, and which we call electricity because it's vibrating. But the energy that makes that vibration is dielectricity, which is all capacitance. It's all potential. It's all there, compressed in counter space. We can't understand counter space, but counter space is where all things manifest from. All things. Because we're not there yet, but we will be. And you and I, this type of people on this call, we will get there first. When that transcendental awakening occurs, we will understand these things more. We will understand counter space and how we can go back to and fro from counter space. We will have this ability. Right now, our bodies are it. We're locked in these bodies. It's a prison in the body. It's a prison in the planet. It's a prison in the cosmos. Why? Because we haven't awoken to the true cosmology. This is why I am so... Since the day I started posting Flat Earth, which was when I came... But no, actually before prison. That's why people say, all these idiots who say, oh, Santos is struck a deal with the government and he went Flat Earth after Flat Earth. Well, that's a lie, because you can go to the higher side chats with what's his name? He's a great guy. Keep forgetting his name. The high side chats. Anyway, in July, of course, I went to jail in August. In July, talking about Flat Earth. So you see how people just make things up. These are liars. But since that time, since I came out of jail, because I had a lot of time to think about it, I thought, when I get out, I'm going to make a point of the Flat Earth. I'm just going to do that, because I've done plenty of astrotheology. I've done plenty of other things exposing the papal bulls and the legality system and I've exposed all of those things, and yet the greatest truth that I realized, our true cosmology, and astrologers were right. It's geocentric. They always were right. They have all the wisdom. And I said to the Father, I said, I promise you, the Father, Mother of Heaven, I promise you I will never, ever back down on all the truths. Not that I didn't. As I said, before I went to prison, I was on 2 radio shows that I can point to where I was talking flat Earth. But not everybody listens to everything, so they immediately think. And I also posted some of Math Powerland ridiculing the CGI globe images before I went to prison. So I was already there, and I can tell you truthfully that I was a flat earther since 2014. And ever since that, though, September, I started posting, and I got so much evil backlash from that, man. You guys don't know how sick and demented and putrid people are. The emails that I got from people, the amount of attacks, the threats of murder. Man, I tell you, I went through hell. And at that time, I didn't even have the internet. I was going to the local cafes and everything and posting things about flat Earth, and people were demanding of me. They were saying, oh, your Facebook account's been hacked. The police got to you in prison. They cloned you in prison. You're a dipshit now. Everything you did now has fallen over because you've gone from heliocentrism to geocentrism. All your astrotheology is cancelled. It's all failed and all this. I had no way of sitting in cafes write up defences. So for months and months till I got the internet in my cottage, I had to suffer that. And I'll tell you guys, I did suffer. And that's why you watch me on Facebook and you'll see that I go after the Santa ballers big time. And I won't back down, man. They are idiots and they are killing us. They're telling us, you get idiots like Max Egan. What a moron, man. What a materialist freaking buffoon. Totally a buffoon. And is totally jealous of me. I know that through other people. Many people have told me this over the years, and I didn't believe them until I went to prison and learned something about him. And then when he did all those shows dissing me, that I've gone flat Earth. This asshole is totally a demented piece of shit. Right? And he was one of these ones, you know, big time attacking. And these are the kind of people that I've dealt with. People I used to be friends with, you know, do shows with, Cullen Smith, Danny Wilton, all these upside down dunces, you know. None of them bothered to see all the evidence that I've put forward. None of them. They just went along with their programming. They're programmed. They're materialists. They're swine eaters. Half of them are swine eaters, big time. Bacon and eggs written all over, especially Max Egan. You can see bacon all over his face. All over him. It's wrinkly, it's crinkled, it's freaking dry. It's like plasticine. So people like this.
You know, the really strange thing, Santos, you're like persecuted.
Yeah, and also these half-truthers. Max Egan, that's the point I wanted to make. Yeah, good. I'm glad. I want to put this out in the air. He's the dickhead who keeps saying, oh, the flat earthers have divided the alternative media, because that dickhead always uses the word alternative media. I've never used that. I'm not in alternative media. I'm not giving people alternative bullshit to the media that they've already got. I'm a truther. So, and then sometimes you'll hear him say, it's divided the truth movement. Yeah, it sure has. The dunces are on the left with the goats, and the intelligent ones are on the right with the sheep. As Jesus said, I will come and I will divide the sheep from the goats. Yes, it's divided the truth movement. All the intelligent ones, all of them, are with syncretism. All these idiots like Ruth Smith, Cullen Smith, and all of these dunces, they've all jumped off the syncretism ship into the shark-infested waters of pseudoscience, preaching bullshit globalism, because they're globalists. They are the ones who have been cloned. They are the ones who are shills working for the government. Guaranteed. Max Egan is a piece of shit shill. Guaranteed, 100%. 100%. And you know what his main motto is? I can pull conversations off Skype that I've had over the years with him, and he always comes back with this line: there is no truth, Santos. Because, of course, every second word I use is truth, because I worship the God of truth. There is only truth. My motto is there is only truth. Dickheads like Max Egan, there is no truth. Well, then, what are you doing on the radio if you're not talking about truth because there's none? What are you telling people then, Max? Lies? Upside down pseudoscience? Seed wasting, swine eating like you do and practice. He's got people on his show interviewing, telling people the virtues of meat eating. Meat eating only produces cancer, death, because if you eat dead corpses, well, you are what you eat. And besides, all the scriptures condemn it, even the Bible. This is putrid. Imagine that. People are eating dead corpses. They pull it out of their fridge and fry it and eat it. You know, a bit of pig's bum, a bit of cow's bum. Max Egan is a special proponent of meat eating. You know, Cullen Smith, ejaculate your way to heaven. Whereas the sperm of the man, that is the life force. That comes from the sun. You return that back to your cerebrum, brother, if you want intelligence. The more you ejaculate, the more you empty your brain of ceres, of seed, of wax. That wax is precious, man. Every time you drop that stuff, you die. You are closer to your death. They are preachers of death. They teach to eat dead animals. They preach to practice dead practices so you can be a living. How can you live? How can you be living in the land of the spiritual living forever and ever if you're practicing death practices? You can't. And they are preachers of it. And they are the cheeky pieces of shit chills who say that the flat earth has divided the truth movement in a negative way. No, in a positive way. It's put all the intelligent ones in one group and all the dumbasses upside down, spinning, hurtling, wobbling, thrusting, floating, turning, gyrating in another boat, sinking, which is sinking. Because what happened to Humpty Dumpty? He fell off the wall. Yeah, the globe will fall off the wall. And we'll push it. I'll push Humpty Dumpty off that wall, I will.
Yeah, I definitely see it as a bit of a what you call it? Not division, but certainly a transition in the actual within the flat Earth community and movement itself. Yeah, definitely it's starting to divide a little bit into different groups.
Yeah, but Ceres,
the two.
Hang on a minute. Don't be so. This is every organization is like this, brother. Everywhere it's like this. Not just the flat earth movement. No, it must be like this. It's a time of division, brother. And it's a time that the weeds will be cast in with the wheat, okay? And when the servant said to the master, shall I pull the weeds out, dear Lord? The Lord said, no, let them grow together, because you will confuse the wheat with the weed and you will pull out weed. Let them grow, and then you will distinguish them when they are fully grown. And then you pull those weeds out and you throw them in the furnace and burn them, for they shall not have part of the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
But we will. We will be there, brothers. We'll be there, holding hands, shoulder to shoulder, singing and dancing. We'll be there. Without fail, we'll be there.
Here, Santos.
Of course.
No, which one? There or here?
Both. We're still talking future, right? There is no future. We're there. We are going to get there. Okay, so our spirits are already there.
You said you're going home and you can't wait to go home, and going home is not here. So that's why I said there or here.
Yeah, well, when you think about it all the way through, you'll realize that the eternal now is always here, okay? And that we are there because where there is in you. The kingdom of God is within. It is not, don't look outside to the clouds, don't look up there looking for the kingdom to come, or there, it is within, because we are a kingdom. We are godlets. We are sons of God. We have purpose.
Yeah.
We are sons of the living God, not of the dead God. They are children of the dead God. They worship death. They love death because they teach it.
Santos, can I ask you something? Where do we go from gods into God? When did we go from lots of gods into one God?
They coexist. They coexist. It's always gods and God. There is only one God. There is only one God, but there are gods. As the milk expands into cream and yogurt, etc., so does Krishna expands. So Krishna becomes Vishnu, Vishnu's Brahma, Shiva, and then you, the Jiva Atma, you are still God. That's Jesus said, ye are gods. because all is God's. It's all part of God. God does not make shit. God makes gods. Light begets light, death begets death, God begets God. And so we are gods and God. It's always both. It's a duality. See, in the Vedas, you will learn the deepest of all secrets that you will ever come to know. 5 words. Inconceivably one with difference. That's 4 words. Okay. So that's who you are. You are inconceivably one with God, with difference. What does that mean? Because there's gurus out there, idiots, saying, you are God. Oh, you are God. I am God. That's half truth, dudes. That is half truth. You don't want to be a half truther, because that's a liar.
Part of God.
You're not
We're
God.
part of God.
You are God with difference. We are God. That means that your individuality will be protected, honored, sustained forever. Forever. You will never lose your individuality. You will not merge with God and become God. That's bullshit.
It's also
You will go
the witness above, witness below.
Hey?
The witness above is God, and below are you.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Yes, and we are connected. And we are one and the same, but with difference, because our individuality was made for a purpose. It was made for us to have eternal activity with God. John 1:1, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. It's telling you that Jesus is God, but he is also his own self, because he's an expansion of God. This is how beautiful God is. He's not selfish that he stays by himself in creation. He gives life to creatures. He loves creatures dancing, singing, reflecting his qualities. He loves this. She, whatever you want. It's a partnership. It's black and white light. If you want to keep it basic, it's more than that, of course, but it's the intelligence and the energy that is behind those lights. We worship light, guys. God is light. We worship sound.
Santos, there's another question in the chat room. Universe wanted to know, September the 5th, 1793, August the 21st, 2017, correlation, please. The French Revolution, 6 planets are in the same place in the zodiac. It's called reoccurrence.
So August, what will be the recurrence? August, what's the date?
I think the 5th of September, 1793.
Yeah, that's 1793.
August 21st.
August 21st. Well, you just saw the chart. There are no 6 planets aligned. That's not true. They're all spread out. Did you see the chart? Go back to the chart. You will see only the sun and the moon conjunct in one sign. All the other planets are spread out. So this is not going to happen. But what did happen, okay, you go to that astrological website that I gave everybody the link. Punch this in. Shit, I forget now. I think it's 6 a.m. February the 5th, 1962. And you will see rising in the east at 6 a.m. You will see the sun, the moon, and all the 5 planets in Aquarius, ushering in the age of Aquarius. Astrologers have ever said that the last time this happened was in Aries, thousands of years ago, and there's no repeat for 4,320,000 years. And now, 54 years ago, a year before I was born, in 62, you can see it for yourself. Go in and press. Actually, I'll give you the exact thing, and then we'll call it a day. I'll give you the exact. I just got to punch it in. I'll do it myself first here, and then I'll show you what to punch in, and you will see all 7 planets, all visible 7 planets, all in Aquarius, all of them. This cannot happen unless it ushered in the age of Aquarius. Okay, and that's when 7 planets were together. It will never happen again for thousands of years. You won't see it. You're not going to see it. It won't happen. This alignment is so unique, and yet it happened in 62. Where were all the cameramen at the time? Where were all the astrologers? You'd wake up in the morning on the 5th of February 1962, and you would see 7 luminaries rising in the east. No one took a photo of that? Funny. Why? Because people were singing, "Oh yes, it's the age of Aquarius." Yeah, they were singing it. So they were telling you the truth subliminally, hiding under your nose, and yet you weren't looking up in the skies to see those 7 planets. That was the most important astrological thing ever that we will ever witness in our lives. So let me see the time. I keep forgetting. I think it's 6 a.m. you need to put in, but I'll just check. 5th of Feb, 1962. Someone's probably already done it. 6 a.m. I'll put 6:30. Geez, I'll tell you what, those idiots fired me up this morning, guys. Next time, I'm not going to look at Facebook. Next time, I'm not going to look at Facebook before the hangout. Okay, put 7 o'clock, 5th of February, 1962, guys. 7 o'clock. I'll just do it again, just make sure. And this will give you something to think about for the rest of your life. And if you don't, man, you're superficial. That's all I can say. You're superficial. If this doesn't make you think, wow, 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 7 planets never before seen in our timeline, going back thousands. And we saw it. And no one took photos of it. I can't find any on the net. See, these are the things that I've put out in my many presentations, but the Globies don't want to acknowledge it. I've done it, man. Published millions of bits of data and information to the world. It's all on my channel. It's all there, man. Science. All I do is science. I don't do pseudoscience. I used to when I was a globetard. There you go. Put 7:30. Nah, yeah, put 7 or 7:30, and you'll see it. There you go. You'll see all the planets, all of them. Hang on, I'll share my screen. And before I go, can I do that?
Yes, go for it, Santos. Just do it through the application, remember?
Yep. There you go, guys. There it is.
Oh.
This is 0 degrees Aquarius at 7 o'clock. 5th of February 1962. There is Mars conjunct Saturn, the 2 red malefics, on the 2nd and 3rd degree of Aquarius. Here is the Sun, 16 degrees Aquarius. Mercury retrograding, 16 degrees Aquarius. Venus, 18 degrees. Jupiter, 18 degrees. Moon, 20 degrees. They are within 18 degrees of each other. Probably why they didn't see it is because they were within 15 degrees of the Sun. There you go. That's why. That proves it. That absolutely proves it, in harmony with what we opened with at the start of this hangout, where astrologers say if any planet is within 15 degrees of the Sun, which all of these planets are, they are invisible. And you'll find that that was the case. That's why you couldn't see all the planets rising in Aquarius on that auspicious day. Dear friends, there's a lot to uncover. I suggest that everyone hop on those videos, watch them. Watch the astrotheology, man, the ones I published in 2011, 12, 13. Ignore the globetardery in them. Just transpose them to a flat plane and you'll be right. And all of the understandings you ever need will be there. I feel sad for people who haven't seen my presentations. I really do. It breaks my heart because they are being misled left, right, and center. It's why Jesus said, feel pity for them. They are sheep. They are torn and battered and led around like sheep without a pastor. There are no pastors anymore. What's a pastor? Someone who comes from the astors. What's an astor? The stars. A pastor is an astrologer, guys. Okay? The Bible condemns astrologers. It does not condemn astrology. Okay? Jesus condemned lawyers. He did not condemn law. Get it right. Because he came to fulfill the law. And he was a magus, an astrologer.
Natural law. Yeah, natural law. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, all kinds of law, really. He was not lawless. That's the point.
Yeah.
Well, Santos, you have talked now for over 3 hours, so I bet you're a little bit tired as well, because I think you said you wanted to finish this hangout. But we appreciate everything you said today so much, and you said you want to come back. So when do you want to do this then? Because a while, or do you just come back in a few days and then have this other chat? Because you've mentioned it now.
I'll just have a little bit of a rest from these things are pretty tiring emotionally. Probably a week. Maybe we could do it next week. But if I feel inclined, maybe earlier, we'll talk on Facebook. I've got the whiteboard already because I had it ready 3 months ago, but that show cancelled because I couldn't get on Google Hangouts because freaking no application would allow me to. I tried this, that, and the other. Ceres was the only one that could help me get on a show once, and all the other guys couldn't because they didn't know what my problem was. But I did it in Spanish. You can see it in Spanish if you speak Spanish. Go to my channel and you'll see there me exposing the Farneses and Orsinis like they should be. I'll do it in English with you guys because I reckon you guys are the best people that will appreciate it first, and from there you can launch it forth on all your media. And then I'll have a copy. I'll have a copy of all these shows for my channel too, please, because I want to keep all my shows on my channel. So I only do interviews now under the proviso that I can have complete control as well of. I can share it, but of my whatever I put out now, because what's happened is I willy-nilly gave free interviews to anyone and everyone who was wanted them, and they put them on their channels, and then their channels would close down. Okay, and then that presentation is lost with information that was specific to that show, which will never be repeated. And it breaks my heart, man, because all these beautiful presentations are gone. I did a tour of Great Britain in 2013. And the proviso was I didn't want big money, which they offered me. I said, no, just $5 a ticket, $10 a ticket. I don't give a shit about the money, okay? This is what I give a shit about. You bring a camera there, you record it, and you put it on your media. And guess what? They did none of it. That's truth juice in England. Bloody idiots. I'm so angry with them. They're stupid idiots. I went to Glastonbury. I went to Manchester, did a beautiful alchemical presentation there. It's gone. I did a couple in London. I went to Brighton. I went to Bristol, 2 in Birmingham. I went to Hull. None of them has, they're gone. Because I deal with a lot of idiots.
Yeah, no, I think I can speak for all of us when I say, yeah, I mean, it's best to get this spread out as far and wide as possible. So please do, yeah, get this up on your channel ASAP.
When this is finished uploading, as you know, Hangouts have to upload, I will give you a copy, Santos, of the link.
Yeah. As you have done in the past. Quite generous.
Yes.
Quite generously, and I thank you.
Santos, I find it an honour that we talk quite regularly and I send you my videos, all the links, and that you watch them.
Thank you. I appreciate your love, Karen. You are a beautiful woman. You're a goddess.
Oh, I think you're lovely too, Santos.
Yeah, well,
I do.
you know, what I love about you is your beautiful humility and intelligence. Wow, you're an intelligent woman. You're an example to all the other women. I hope you can influence them. I really do, because they are seduced by idiot men who think they're scientists. Upside down, swine-eating, freaking seed-wasting dumb bums. Sorry about that.
Oh my goodness.
That's me, guys. Please, may all the language that I've expressed here not reflect on you guys. I know I'm making the hair on the back of your necks. I know I'm making you cringe, but I'll just put this little insert in here now. Please. Today, I'm sorry.
Can I ask 2 things, Santos, before you go? Would you just write something in the chat room? I can give you a wrench and you can put a few links out before you go. thing is, I want everybody to come back, and we've got to give Santos a hug, as you well know we do.
And by chat room, Santos, I think she means in the YouTube chat room.
YouTube chat room.
All those links.
Santos, the next time you come on a hangout, if you want to go, I've got a link, you can just go and put it in the chat room, because you'll have a wrench.
Yeah, I did though. I put those links in. And plus, please go to my Facebook page and share that article, because that article is the truth about Eclipse's work, guys. We need to notice.
I'll do it. I've got it here.
Please go to my Facebook page and go daily there, because I'm telling you, I get the best researchers like you guys sharing their best information, and it's only the best is posted. I screen everything, and a lot of stuff doesn't get posted. I can't. I don't want to do that to my page. I don't want to flood it. I want to put the best that I love, and it is the best. My page is the best truth page in the universe, guys. I have to say it, because it is. I've seen other pages and they're good. They're all doing good work. Okay, but they're not syncretists completely. I've done that because I've walked it all my life. I was always a syncretist. I was always a linguist, always an astronomer, always a musician. I've always done the quadrivium. Ignored the trivium. That's for dunces. That's for kindergarten beginners. It's the quadrivium where everything is. The quadrivium is the right brain balanced with the left. Trivium is kindergarten. Lose it. That's my opinion. You might disagree, and I guess you will. So I'm a bit of a freaking feisty pontificator today. I'm sorry.
So I've absolutely loved it today. You've been brilliant, like I say. Yeah, I've had a lot of built-up frustration, and it's been great hearing that I'm not the only one, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm sick of these half-cocked shills that come on my page to, put a shit stain on my page, a mud stain. So, and they're shills, they're paid because they know they're telling the lie. This idiot that I exposed at the start, he knows that everything he said was a crock of bullshit. And yet, this is how these keyboard cowards go. I put my face to all my work. I'm not a coward. I'm no coward, okay? I'm Aryan and Calabrian. If you know what it means to be Calabrian, all the philosophers, all the great philosophers, Plato, Pythagoras, lived in my region of Italy, southern Italy. They all did. Plotinus, all the Neoplatonists went there for their philosophizing. Okay, Campanella, great Renaissance master, contemporary of Giordano Bruno, Calabrian. All of Calabria, the Calabrians were the last ones fighting against the Roman Empire. They were the last ones to stand on the Italian peninsula. That's my people. That's my people. That's where the mafia comes from, or where the Vatican controls the mafia and the evil Calabrians who conspire with the Vatican to bring the mafia. Okay, we are, and that's why they put the mafia in Calabria, because the Calabrians, we're free thinkers, man. We don't. My grandfather, he went to jail like me for 6 weeks. Like me, my mother's father, Angelo Cerminara, he went to jail in World War II because the government put a ban on all the wheat growers that they had to give 95% of their harvest to the war machine. And my father, with his hungry, starving peasant people who were helping my grandfather, Angelo, who was an angel, he was helping putting them in sacks and hiding them and feeding the poor people who were starving in Calabria, because they've always tried to starve Calabria out. It's pretty much like the all other countries do the same with their gypsy free thinkers, and they're usually living in the south, like in Andalusia, Spain. The gypsies were herded into Andalusia. Same with Calabria, right? He went to jail because someone dobbed him in, just like someone did with me to put me in jail. And when my mother told me this back in May of this year, I went down to visit my mother. She told me about her father, how he went to jail and why. And we immediately looked at each other and said, yeah, well, like grandfather, like grandson, fighting against the government always, Calabrians. So point is, I'm Aryan, with a Leo ascendant, that's a hell of a lot of fire, guys. And I'm Calabrian. And I know the truth, and I will preach the truth from the rooftops. I'll go to jail if I have to for everyone. I will talk on my Facebook page like we have to talk, truthfully, not alternative media-ally, because that's a crock. All those alternative media guys, they are now in the shark-infested waters because they're laughing at us because we're stationary and flat. They think we're idiots. But it's their ancestors that are rolling in their graves because they knew the earth was stationary and flat. And now they've produced these idiots down the line who are seduced. Like Jesus said, the demons will try to seduce even the chosen ones. Beware, guys. You've been forewarned. Thank you.
We have to give
out of duality, and the practice of kings is resisting temptation.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And feel free to edit all those bits where I did some where I mentioned some names, because I know that's not nice reflecting on you guys, name calling, but that's how else are we going to?
I can't change the live feed. We did that once. We came on and we were sitting around for 15 minutes. We can't not live feed.
Well, then I will say this. All of those things that I said reflect back on me and not you guys, because anyone can watch the way you guys do Hangouts. You don't use language. You don't get angry. You're humble. You are discreet and you're intelligent. So that's the disclaimer. And you don't need to put a disclaimer in. I'll take it all and I'll bear the brunt. No worries. They're coming at me from every angle, but I give it to them, man. I give it to them pressed, shaken, and overflowing. Like Jesus said, when they give you something, your enemy, you give that basket back, pressed, shaken, and overflowing. So if you come to me with stupidity and attack the good work of syncretism that I have given freely to the world, I'm not just going to lay there and just swallow that bullshit. There's only one way to chop the legs of these half-truthers standing on their soapboxes preaching pseudoscience, and that is to name them and ridicule them. Ridicule them.
Yeah,
and then
I completely agree. I mean, we are all individuals here. I mean, I know it's the Sun and Moon group, but the group is made up of individuals with different ideas, and like I say, it's just great we can all get together, and like you say, we're usually quite peaceful, and we just try and talk and get on. But no, like I say, it's good to let some steam off every now and then as well.
Yeah.
Yes, but Santos wasn't arguing with us, was he? He was just telling us.
Yeah, I was just...
Yes, no, exactly. Yeah, there was no arguments there. No, it was just...
Not at all, guys.
His opinion. Yeah.
That will never happen. Not with intelligent people. When we come to the table to bring our spirits of wisdom so that we can grow them and so that we can reflect them off each other and get, a soundboard feedback so that we can, make a pool of higher intelligence rather than individuals being intelligent separately. We need to pool that wisdom and pool our knowledge and bring it together and show how everything is syncretic. Everything is interrelated and everything can be known. We can know the truth. Not that there is no truth. There is only truth. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can we, before you go, you know what we've got to do? We've got to give you a hug, Santos. We have a hug in our Hangouts. And is everybody ready to give Santos a hug? Love you.
Big hugs.
Big hugs.
And
Thank
to the
you.
chat room. And Santos says he's going to come back maybe within the next week. So that is brilliant. And we look forward to that. And I'll chat to you and talk to you, Santos.
Yeah.
So much. It's been riveting, Santos.
Thank you.
See you later.
See you guys.
Bye.
So,
what do we say now?
I'd say it was a great hangout, and good night to the chat room, and
yeah.
and wait for the next one. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and wait till the next hangout.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. Thanks to all in chat, and thanks to all the mods for helping out there.
It's going to be a good night, I guess.
Does everybody want to make on the panel? Does everybody want to make a little comment on the way out? I know you said it was a great hangout, but is there any other comments you'd like to add?
Yeah, well, for me, well, yeah, no, I'm quite there with Santos at the moment with frustration and stuff. So yeah, no, I'm glad he kind of had his say, if you know what I mean. It's great. I mean, obviously there's someone I'd probably like to mention, but I won't because I'm a bit more integral, I think, to the Sun and Moon group. So when I'm here, I'll keep a lid on it. But yeah.
I guess I would say I agree with Santos, and you know, be vigilant and don't let complacency become a casket, and don't let analysis become paralysis. Right, move forward with the truth. I agree with what he's saying. Yeah.
Big hugs, Chris.
Yeah, I would say what I typed earlier. If you don't have an elephant skin by now, you're not an elephant in the room yet. I mean, you need to grow an elephant skin because you will be the elephant in the room. Anyway, you can't help it.
Thank you, series.
Yeah.
Patricia, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What did you make of that hangout, my darling?
Well, what can I say? Toss anyway, but yeah, it's really, really good. Really, really good.
Thank you, my darling. Richard?
Hello.
You're the one mute yourself. Hello there.
Yeah, I was just mesmerised most of the time listening to Santos. Really enjoy listening to him. I hope it accepts my friend request on Facebook.
Oh.
I saw he's got like 58 friend requests, so I'm like, oh god.
Can I just ask then that everybody on the panel today comes back on that other hangout with Santos? Because obviously sometimes Richard's with us, sometimes Judith's with us, Patricia's with us, and obviously Dee and Chris and Ceres. But as you've been here today, do you want to be in the other hangout with him? And I'm glad you enjoyed that, Richard.
Yeah, I like him.
If you understand it all, or you start to understand it, he's amazing.
Yeah. He goes on a lot about stuff about.
Definitely a lie. It's a lie.
Yeah, he goes on a lot of stuff about like what Ken Wheeler goes on about. I like him and all. It's a bit crazy. Yeah.
I think if everybody listens to these people who come on our chat show and start talking, it can't be explained in one sentence. It just can't. And then that leads on to that, and then that leads on to that, and then that, and it goes on. But anyway, thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you. Judith, are you there? Judith. Earth calling Judith in Israel. Are you still with us? Yay, Judith. Your turn. What would you like to say on the as we're going in a moment?
Oh, you know what I feel about all these videos. I think it's the most important in the YouTube today. All those videos. Yeah, love it. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Ceres.
Oh no, thank you. Because well, everybody on the panel, everybody watching, and everybody in the chat room who is watching as well, we're all part of it.
Yeah.
I think it's time to say goodnight, and thank you so much for watching. We're back. I think it's 9 o'clock on Sunday. Pyramid Talk. Thanks again, and we're going to say good night now to everybody. Bye. See you Sunday night. And thank you very much for watching.